Welcome back, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Can I see a thumbs up in the chat? Just want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, 100. Thank you, Susan. Welcome back, ballers, to another episode on the Balll Don't Lie channel. Eye to Eye podcast, episode 55 now, June 9th, 2026. Eye to Eye with AJ, Rambo, and KODI. My name is AJ. KODI, Rambo, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, I can. I can hear you.
I can hear you as well.
Fantastic. KODI, I hope you appreciated the intro song. Hopefully it fires you up and wakes you up where you're at.
Yeah, definitely. That's my vibe. So I that gets me going. That blues guitar solo gets me going. I mean, I know most people in the world that rap, they like their rap, but I like my blues guitar. So
I'm sure you were doing a little air guitar in bed or the desk, wherever you're at.
Oh, if only I had a guitar still. I miss my guitar days.
You can find one cheap. Might not sound that great, but
yeah, one day again soon.
One day.
But yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Lots to talk about tonight. Obviously, we're on the doorstep of the World Cup. We've had a lot going on with the NBA Finals. Before we dive into that, my name is AJ, Balll Don't Lie, 3 L's in Ball. You guys can find all of my content here on YouTube as well as on Instagram. Once again, Balll Don't Lie, 3 L's in Ball. Feel free to send me an email at any time, wordplaybook with 3 O's in book at gmail.com. I have a handful of different books, mini books I've written over the years, showing different narratives and rituals and storylines, things like that. So come check it out. KODI, please let the folks know where they can find you.
Yeah, thanks for being here, everyone, in the chat. Appreciate you all. And thank you, AJ, once again, for putting on this great show every Tuesday. Always enjoy this. And thank you, Rambo, for being here and sharing your time and doing everything you do. And I appreciate everyone. And if you guys want to find me, you guys can find me at Decoding with KODI on YouTube. And that's also buymeacoffee.com/decoding with KODI. And those are the two main places. And then also don't forget to go subscribe to all the other great channels as well, guys. Thank you.
We appreciate you, KODI, very much. Thank you again for joining. Love what you've been doing the last couple days, just especially with the NBA Finals. And shout out to Sean Desad, Widow's son. All the 23-19 stuff going on nowadays is really starting to creep me out. You guys are doing some great work with that. So, yeah, thanks again, Codes. Appreciate it. And last but surely not least, Rambo, a.k.a. the Truth Codes. Let the folks know where they can find you.
Yeah, patreon.com/thetruthcodes. But, firstly, thank you, KODI, for being here. I know it's tough for you to make it. The audience appreciate it. We appreciate it. I look forward to the great contributions, your observations every week. AJ, again, for putting the whole thing together. And again, yeah, this is where I can be found. One tier, $5 a month, with access to the Codebreaker community Discord server and on Instagram.com/thetruthcodes as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm really excited to pick your brain on anything else you might have seen over the last week leading up to the World Cup, and also just I don't know if there was anything yet you've been able to include in your content, but I sent you the latest Nike World Cup commercial, the long version. It's almost like a mini movie. But a lot of interesting stuff in there for me. What stood out mainly was the twin tower symbolism and the falling of the towers. There were like 2 or 3 examples of that. But besides the point, maybe we'll tune to that later. But Rambo, I know you got something to kick us off with, so I'm going to pass you the screen, and we'll get started.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
We can see it.
Yeah, this is an event that you told me about. It is I've been talking about William Shatner since the beginning of the year. On March 22nd, which is his birthday, there was an incident at LaGuardia Airport in New York City where on Air Canada, he's Canadian, he was born in Montreal, took off from William Shatner's hometown, Montreal, and collided with a fire truck in really kind of inexplicable circumstances. I just don't see how that could have happened. But the fire truck was told to go across the runway when the plane is landing. How do you make that mistake? But that happened. It was on William Shatner's birthday. A lot has been happening on William Shatner. You have the UFO disclosure, and I said earlier, and you can focus on this number later on. You have some things to say. From the beginning, I said 2026 will be relevant, especially regarding the UFOs, UAPs. Now they call them UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomenon. 2026 will be big for that, and going forward, because of chariots of fire. Because in the reverse ordinal or reverse simple cipher of English gematria, chariots of fire has a value of 226. And what do chariots of fire refer to? Well, if you look at 2 Kings, the book of 2 Kings, chapter 2, verse 11, says there appeared a chariot of fire, and Elijah was taken up in a whirlwind into the chariot of fire. Now, of course,
which verse was that again?
2 Kings.
2 Kings.
Chapter 2, verse 11. This was very important, 2 Kings. I'll actually, later on in the decode, I'll say why Kings, it's 2 Kings is so important. Specific. I mean, we've done king symbolism. You can just see it in the name. We can kind of see where we're going with this. So what does that remind you of? Beam me up. I mean, people who were, once you're alive in the 60s and have access to television, or even later, you're born afterwards, then you have a concept of what they're describing. Well, in the years up to that, anyone who was of a religious mindset, who saw those passages, said, wow, miracle. Angels came from heaven and had this force that pulled Elijah up to heaven, and he went to heaven and was with God. But you look at it completely different now. In the 50s, 60s, leading up to now, the modern day, this looks like it's describing teleportation, exactly what we saw in Star Trek. Beam me up. And who made Star Trek famous? Who's the one who's only beamed up more than anyone else? It's Captain Kirk, William Shatner. William Shatner is really big at the moment. He's quoting a lot of stuff. Well, here's another one. I talked about Shatner, and I put this out on Instagram. I also have a post on this on Patreon. My Patreon post adds more to it. So it's a 3-minute video for Instagram, but it's 9 minutes on Patreon. I actually added some things to it. But yeah, this is it.
I've been charting this series of William Shatner's synchronicities in 2026. William Shatner is most famous for portraying Captain Kirk of Star Trek, of course.
Space, a final frontier.
The Final Frontier. On May 8th, 2026, on the very day that the United States government released its UFO, UAP, ET files, Frontier, an allusion to the final frontier of Star Trek, narrated by William Shatner himself. Airlines had a mishap at Denver International Airport. A man is said to have committed suicide by walking into the path of a Frontier airliner and was partially ingested into its engine. May 30th, 2026, the Super Bowl of Soccer, the annual UEFA Champions League final. The Times headlined its sports page, "The Final Frontier," a Star Trek / William Shatner reference, even though there was no space or alien connection. 2 days prior to that, Blue Origin rocket had an almighty, super spectacular explosion at an attempted launch with no injuries. The rocket was 322 feet in height. William Shatner's birthday, March 22nd, and he set a human world record with Blue Origin, the oldest person in space at 90 years old with Blue Origin. Shout out to AJ of Balll Don't Lie channel for telling me about this one. May 31st, 2026, Frontier, again, the Final Frontier Airlines literally simulated William Shatner's iconic role as Robert Wilson in the Twilight Zone's episode Nightmare at 20,000 Feet in 1963. In the short story version, Wilson, originally named Arthur Jeffrey Wilson, is a businessman on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Shatner's Wilson is a man who has recently been discharged from a mental facility and is returning home with his wife Julia, played by Christine White, when he sees a gremlin, played by Nick Kravitz, outside his passenger window looking at the wing. He attempts in vain to convince his wife and the flight crew of the danger. Taking matters into his own hands, Wilson steals a gun from a sleeping police officer and all but throws himself out of the plane window in an attempt to kill the monster, unquote. Now, May 31st, 2026, the very day after the Times headlined their sports page Champions League preview, The Final Frontier, quote, "Wild video captured the moment brave Frontier Airlines passengers and crew detained a deranged passenger who tried to pry open exit doors and break into the pilot's cabin during a harrowing mid-flight rampage."
Tonight, a man in custody restrained by passengers and crew after authorities say he tried to open the exit door mid-flight. It happened on a Frontier flight that left Puerto Rico for Chicago.
Yeah, so yeah, that's it. The rest on Patreon, I have the full video, 9-minute video. But yeah, but this is what's on Instagram.
That was amazing, Rambo. Seriously, I got chills down my spine when it showed that guy peeking through the window and whatnot. That was unbelievable. Can we get a couple woos, likes, thumbs up in the chat? Little shout out to Rambo. That was fantastic. And for me, I want to say it was the last stream we did. When I saw that story pop up immediately, I was like, oh, Frontier Airlines, here's another story. It was automatic to pass it off to you, let you know about it. Because it was in the news, but I wouldn't say it was like headlining news, right? It's things you need to pay attention to. But yeah, awesome job, Rambo.
Yeah, thank you. So I know what got your attention to it was the fact that you've seen my decode. So this is something. The news would not focus it. Of course, the mainstream, the media, even non-main, no media is going to say, "Oh, there are William Shatner related stories going on in the news on an occulted level." Of course, I'm not going to say that, right? But if you follow my work, that's why you'll pay attention to it. That's why you send it to me. It's like, wait a minute, Frontier Airlines again? That's what got your attention. I never would have seen it. I appreciate you showing me that story. I never would have seen it. But it had to do with Frontier, the Final Frontier. And I've already talked about the Final Frontier. We already talked about William Shatner, all the stuff that's happening on, it's related to him. And that is what they're referring to, the Final Frontier. It's related to the Artemis II launch and just the aviation theme in general. And shout out one of my patrons, Ajit, who pointed out during the NBA playoffs, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder showing up for a playoff game with a shirt that just says aviation on it, just like a random word on his shirt. It just says aviation. That's weird. It's a random word. Like, there's no context to it. It's just aviation. Like, why? But because Ajit, the huge shout out to him. So I can't notice all of this stuff. I really thank the patrons they actually validate the things I'm saying. Like, this is a theme. Then it actually gets validated from the observations that people make. It's a theme. It is a theme, and it's tied. I think well, it's always been a theme. But the UAP UFO, and just looking at the things like Bible scriptures, they seem to point to things like they look like they're describing, aerial craft, which shouldn't have existed back then. But yeah, William Shatner, and he's 95. He turned 95. He's still going strong. He went up to space, and why would you put a 90-year-old up in space? Well, I mean, how are they so sure that a 90-year-old? What if he has a medical emergency? But that's what they do. They send him up there in Blue Origin. There's so much more attached to this. The name William I've talked about. I know Cody can expand on that, but William is big. And it ties into the Disclosure. I can talk about that later. I have a clip from the Disclosure Day movie that's coming out. It's all tied into that whole aviation theme. And so, yeah, thanks for telling me. But I just want to show the Bible passage. It's it's
Second Kings, right?
Yeah. (2:11). Just to clarify that. And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that, behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. I mean, until modern times, what does that describe? It was a miracle. Angels. I mean, what could be floating? Now we look at it, and we've all seen Star Trek, chariot of fire. And Elijah went up in a whirlwind. And just a gematria calculation here. Why 2026 in the reverse ordinal cipher? Chariots of fire is 226, which from the beginning of the year I said this is why this will be a big topic in 2026, because that's 226, that's chariots of fire, and it has been. There had already been before this. Interesting, Donald Trump is turning 80 this year as well. That kind of stands out. But 1982, E.T. came out in 1982. That's a big number too. So it's Second Kings. It's very important. Second Kings is where this is described, and so this is the name of the man he was pretty much reprising William Shatner's character. Was Robert Wilson in the Twilight Zone episode. The episode was called Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. This is the man who he's pretty much reprising that role. His name is Juan Gabriel Reyes. Juan Gabriel Reyes. What stands out? His last name, Reyes. What does Reyes mean in Spanish? It means kings.
Wow.
So, and this wasn't in my decode. That's the thing. I didn't put this in my Patreon. I actually thought about this. I actually thought about it yesterday, actually. It occurred to me, wait a minute, Reyes, kings. That's the passage that describes Beam Me Up, Scotty, of Elijah. There's other things in my Patreon video, the full Patreon video, but this, I didn't even have that. It just occurred to me like, wow, you wish, you know how decodes are. You're always going to come up when you're done, even like you write a book, you come up with mind-blowing stuff like, oh, why didn't I think of that? But you never can think of everything. But so this isn't, I thought about it later, so I'm saying it here. It just occurred to me, his name, Reyes, it means kings. It's a reference to this. Second Kings. There appeared a chariot of fire, and Elijah went up in a whirlwind. That's teleportation that they're referred to. That's why his name was Reyes. And the other, I think, pretty mind-boggling synchronicities as well. And so what are the two kings? Well, I'll leave it at this. Cody can jump in after that. There are two kings who are in the public consciousness right now. When you think of royal families, there's only one royal family. With all due respect, I mean, just the way the world is. We're speaking English right now, even though most of us are not of English origin. It's de facto world language because that tiny country ended up pretty much ruling the world. We all speak in English, their language. It's kind of interesting to kind of figure out how did that tiny country end up dominating the world like this? Like we're speaking their language right now. there's only one royal family. I mean, with all due respect, when you say the royal family, you're not talking about the Danish royal family, to be honest,
Right.
or royal family of Morocco. No, there's only one royal family, and those are the two kings you're talking about. So I'm going to talk about and that's William. So William Shatner. That's why the name is so big. So another number that's emerged here is 53, because the two kings are William, who'll be William V. Cody's talked about that, and his father is Charles III. So these are the kings. It's the third and the fifth. He'd be called William V. Interesting that his middle name is Arthur. So there's no guarantee he'll call himself William V. There's a chance. I mean, it's unlikely. Since his middle name is Arthur, he actually could call himself King Arthur. But the way the world's going now, I mean, nothing surprised me. But most likely, it's not a guarantee he will go with William V. But these are the two kings. William and Charles, that's 5 and 3. And 53 is big here, which I can talk about later.
Yeah, Cody, where you at? You out there? I'm not sure if there was anything else you wanted to add to that. That Ray is King's connection, I had no idea. Both of you guys have done a really good job of always including that in like your approach in decoding and researching things, because like just the meaning of the names first and last, is pretty eye-opening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot I can. There's a lot I want to say actually about, because I've been on this topic a lot this year with William, and the WWE has been recently, they collaborate with this. They're collaborating with AAA. It's a wrestling promotion in Mexico, and some of their shows are called Raya de Reyes, and just recently, they had again this unmasking so they had this unmasking of Chad Gable, and Chad Gable, he is now, just this week, Rey Mysterio. He's the most famous masked luchador there is. Interestingly enough, he connects to me in weird ways because he's the 619, and his name is obviously Rey Mysterio, which means King Mysterio. So King of Mystery, essentially, is his name. And he was just demasked, actually, was it 2 nights ago? Which is a big thing because Rey Mysterio has not been unmasked for a long time. His son is actually even in the WWE. But anyway, he calls himself the Master of the 619 because he's from San Diego, which has the 619 area code. But the real reason they do that is because it's a tribute to King James, who was born on 619. So Rey Mysterio is the King of Mystery. He's King James, essentially. He's the Master of the 619, which is the birthday of King James. And so that also connects to, I believe, in a way, to William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare has the WS. And all week we've been talking about what? 2319. And that's WS. Now remember in the Monsters Inc., where the WS really originally came from, it stands for white sock. The monster gets a white sock on him. But that's interesting because it's clearly pointing to our time now. This movie came out in 2001, but it's clearly pointing to our time now because in that clip in the movie, you get 2 clues that it's pointing to this direct time we're in. First of all, Pope Leo. Pope Leo is a White Sox fan, and he was elected with white smoke, WSWS, 2319. Right after the 2319 happens in the movie, the monster gets shaved. That's the disclosure. I talked about that in my video. The monster gets shaved, disclosing him, laying him bare, making the secret unveiled. And then right after that, the guy says the CDA, that they're the ones that come in and clean up the contamination. they say we need to shut down and reset the system. And as soon as they say we need to reset the system, there's a timer on the wall that says 47 days without incident, because they've had 47 days there without a contamination incident. Well, because they just had an incident, they have to reset the clock. So they reset the clock after 47, and we're currently in the time of number 47. So this is clearly what I've been talking about. I've been talking about how Trump is talking about, he posted a few months ago about the world's greatest reset. And and then you got Pope Leo connected with the white sock. So we're clearly in this time of where this movie seemed to be. And now you have James Franco, James again, right? King James coming out and saying, we got a 2319 essentially. And most of you guys have seen this by now on my that's a good one, Susan. Wall Street. It's a good one. That's a big part of this too. Always economic. All these riddles are always connected to economic stuff. I know most people, it's not the most interesting thing to follow because, there are more interesting things, but there is always a monetary Wall Street connection to all these riddles. But yeah, that's interesting. But anyway, back to what I was saying with the Rey de Reyes. You have what just recently happened in WWE, a big event. They're calling this the match of all time, essentially. You had this mask versus mask match between the El Grande Americanos. And it happened where Chad Gable got demasked. And I think this is a Freemason connection as well, because a gable is a gable angle. There's something called a gable angle on a house. So his name is Gable, which is a reference to an angle. And interestingly enough, Chad Gable is like the modern day version of the famous wrestler Kurt Angle. They're like essentially the same wrestlers. He's just like a new version. So both of these wrestlers and they're both tied to America too. They're both Olympic gold medalists. Well, Kurt Angle was, but I don't think Chad Gable won an Olympic gold medal, but he was in the Olympics. But essentially, they're the same wrestler, and they both have a connection to angles, like the square and compass, it's a Freemason thing. But
Cody, really quick, I just wanted to shout out researcher, pointing out, what's up, fellas? Cody, Pope Leo wore a White Sox hat at the Vatican on June 11th last year. That's interesting. Wow. 1 year before the start of the World Cup.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, that the whole White Sox thing is really clear. I could probably look into that and probably do a whole video about Pope Leo and the White Sox. It's pretty clear there's something there. And the white smoke, they get elected with white smoke. So, but also, obviously, you have the Seattle, Washington, and the Washington State connection, which I've already mentioned before. A lot of stuff going. The Space Needle is in Seattle, Washington, and this also connects to the Brown Lunation because the Brown Lunation numbers started in 1923. So there is a WS or SW connection to the start of the Brown Lunation, and right now we have the finals with Brunson, and I mentioned that in my video. This is all about the Brown Lunation. Brunson is a tribute to the Brown Lunation. And his father, him and his father.
Yeah, Cody, I was meaning to. I'm glad you brought that up because when I was watching your video, I think towards the end I had to step out. So I don't know if you mentioned it, but Mike Brown is also the coach of the Knicks.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I forgot to mention that, but there's lots of Brown stuff. And the Browns just traded Myles Garrett, which I covered also in my 2319 video. Shout out to Sean. He really laid this riddle bare. He's talking about 2319 for a month before this even happened. And then he tells me, it really blew my mind when he told me that Myles Garrett was traded 2319 days after Kobe died. I mean, that just seals the deal on what this, again, I talked about this in my video. James Franco was in a movie called This Is the End, where he throws a house party in LA, and all these celebrities show up, and then the book of Revelation begins to play out, and they basically go into hell, right? And so, you know, then James Franco comes out with the 2319, and it was a clear tribute to that movie. I guess I can pull up my slide for that real fast.
Yeah,
So
Cody, I was going to say, if you wouldn't mind showing folks that might not be aware of what was going on with James Franco. Did you catch that, Rambo? I'm not sure. It's like,
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, so he just opened up a TikTok account. I mean, how long ago now, Cody? Like a week ago?
June 3rd, and there's a reason for that
3rd.
because
That's right. I remember.
It does connect to the JFK stuff because he was in a series called 11/22/63. It's literally about him being a time traveler and going back and stopping the JFK assassination. So Sean was really onto that because his whole thing started with, you know, he shared a video of 7-1, another YouTube channel, and it ended up like kind of manifesting. The whole video just kind of came to life over the last couple months. Because in that video, which was 7 years old, 7-1 mentions things about Nixon, and right after Sean posted this, he had the Nixon or sorry, the Reagan event, not Nixon. I meant Reagan, but anyway, back to this real fast. So, you know, James Franco posts this video saying, you guys got to follow me. I'm going to show you some things, kind of like reveal something. And then he just points to 2319. I mean, when I saw this, Sean sent me this. I was just waking up in the morning and, you know, Sean sends me this and I'm like, is this like, what is going on, man? Like, you've been talking about 2319. I just can't, I couldn't believe it. And then I realized as we looked through this, that this was all tied to, well, of course it's tied to the 2319 emergency in Monsters, Inc. As again, they shave him and they lay him bare, and his hair is orange, which I could talk about all day as well. The orange theme right now is so totally important. And, but it just so happens that this monster is orange. And that's kind of where my research kind of coincided with Sean's, because I was talking about orange separately while he was talking about 2319. And then I realized the monster was orange, right? And then right now we're in the time of the orange stuff, which I've been talking about, which I've even found more since then. But yeah, so what happened was I realized that this whole tribute to get James Franco out there now, I think it was a tribute to this upcoming Disclosure Day movie, because look at the release dates of this movie. This Is the End, which also has an orange tint to it. It released on June 3rd as its premiere, and it released in the United States on June 12th. Well, look at the release dates for Disclosure Day. It released a premiere on June 2nd and United States on June 12th. I mean, what's the odds of that? The two movies have essentially both of the exact release dates. And I get it's one day off, but that goes back to the rule of Colel again. But it's one day off, I think, because James Franco posted his post on June 3rd. So he actually posted his post exactly 13 years after his movie This Is the End came out, and exactly the United States release was exactly 13 years before Disclosure Day. And he's essentially disclosing things. And if you go to his TikTok, let me just pull that up too, because his TikTok, he posted an alien.
Yeah, that's right. I watched that video. I mean, it's a small like clip in it, but it's also the thumbnail of the video.
Right. But I mean, this is just verification of that this is about Disclosure Day. Like, because,
right.
I mean, again, what are the odds this is happening in this month where we've all been talking about Disclosure Day, you know? But yeah, you can see, and he's posted a one recently too, but it seems this could be a promo for some sort of movie or something. But in the song that plays for this video, he says, "If I disappear, you know what happened." So he's also referencing the alien. But what's crazy is in the movie This Is the End, they get beamed up. but for different reasons. It's the rapture. The rapture's happening in the movie. They get beamed up. Now, Project Blue Beam, right? And he's wearing a blue shirt, and the two towers on his shirt look, you could say they're beams, looks like beams. But they're also, I definitely attribute to the towers as well. Because remember, this is also connected very much to Kobe. Kobe died, and then Myles Garrett, who looks like Kobe. There's a whole theory in the truth community that Myles Garrett is Kobe. But Myles Garrett was traded from the Orange team, the Browns. So you got the Brown connection and the Orange connection to LA on June 1st. Let me just bring up that slide too so people can see.
Susan asks, why does he have twin towers on his shirt? For me, it almost kind of looked like, a pause button. I don't know. There's got to be kind of a color symbolism alignment there with the blue shirt.
It is blue and yellow, right? Like the Rams colors.
Right.
And so this is kind of the timeline here. You got Kobe Bryant's death. And again, another thing I didn't mention here is Kobe Bryant. Guess how old Kobe Bryant was when 9/11 happened? This is like the key that I even forgot to put in my video. I don't know how I forgot this. And again, shout out to Sean. He's the one that found this. On the day of 9/11, Kobe Bryant was 23 years and 19 days old. I think this is the whole point. Like literally, that is the whole point of all this. This is what glues all this together is Kobe Bryant, as usual. Because his age is the 2319. And remember, the year of that event, 9/11, was the release of Monsters, Inc., which has a 2319. So, and remember, on the same day as the United States release date of Monsters, Inc., there was a threat on the Golden Gate Bridge, a terrorist threat. On the same day, exact same day. And Kobe is connected to the Golden Gate Bridge because Kobe played 1566 games, and the Golden Gate Bridge took 1566 days to build. And King James was born in 1566, which is why King James passed Kobe before he died. There's a whole book by a guy named Gematria Book who covers the whole connection between, and what's crazy about this, Gematria Book on YouTube, he has a whole book that you guys can go get where he talks about Kobe, the Golden Gate Bridge, and even in that book is James Franco. Like, I read this book over a year and a half ago. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, wow, this is Gematria Book's research. He talks about James Franco and Kobe Bryant and the Golden Gate Bridge. And the Golden Gate Bridge is international orange, by the way. That's the color of the Golden Gate Bridge. So that's interesting. But that famous photo that's, often circulates with Kobe is him in the orange hoodie. Like the one photo I often see a lot with his death, with him and his daughter, he's often wearing that orange hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, and they have him in that orange hoodie. I think it was the last time he dapped up Luka back when he was still in Dallas. Yeah, he's getting up from the bench and he's wearing that same orange hoodie. I think it's from the same game, actually. If you're looking at that photo that's on your slide there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was at a Lakers Mavericks game or something.
Huh.
I could stand corrected on that, but I'm pretty sure because I've seen him wear that same hoodie as he was, hugging Luka. So
yeah, interesting. Luka light, like beams of light, right?
Huh, yeah, there you go.
And this whole thing does connect to Texas a lot because you got San Antonio in the finals right now. The Orange, the Netherlands, is playing Japan in the first game in Dallas, and Dallas has an orange train line.
And you just reminded me that TMZ just announced that Carmelo Anthony, the high schooler who stabbed that twin named Austin last year in Dallas, they just announced that he was charged guilty for murder. So it was a quick trial, but that's the verdict. And of course, this is all rolling out in the middle of the NBA Finals, where Carmelo Anthony won a college basketball championship with Syracuse, and they are the Orange, the Syracuse Orange. There's a lot more to it than that. I just wanted to give you an update on that story.
Yeah, that's another story that's kind of being woven in right now. I think, you know, with the Knicks stuff and just everything that's been happening. And I know you guys covered. I know you covered that a lot, and so I think I should look more into that because again, this orange theme all year. The astronauts went to space; they wear orange. You had the Netherlands stuff tied to Prince William during the Super Bowl. But one thing I just realized yesterday is that, you know, one of the other big stories of the year was Nancy Guthrie disappearing. Well, it just hit me, but like, what's the most famous photo of Nancy Guthrie?
Oh yeah, her in orange. That's right.
Well, it's her daughter's in orange, but she's in blue. So there's orange and blue again. And the
There
blue
you
is
go.
coming with the orange alive, if you notice. But the orange is kind of the key, but the blue is also, you know. And I was like, are you kidding me? So this happened in February. And so you had the and again, Judah Leerdam was the girlfriend of Jake Paul, and she was all over the media during the Olympics from Netherlands. She was winning the gold medal. Like, she was everywhere. And then you had Nancy Guthrie disappear, and she was standing. Yeah, she's always with orange or blue. And again, these are the colors of the Netherlands and the Knicks.
And the Denver
Thunder.
Broncos, like you said,
And the Broncos,
whose quarterback is Knicks.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's really interesting that just kind of hit me that this is also a riddle for this stuff. But yeah, so back to this real fast. I want to get through this so we can get Rambo back in. But 2319 days from Kobe's death to Myles Garrett being traded from Cleveland to LA. How many times have we heard this story? Ohio to Los Angeles. I mean, how many times has this happened?
And aren't the Rams originally from Cleveland?
Yeah. That's what I mean. Is it's just this never-ending Cleveland to LA.
Right.
So, yeah, there's something. Probably could do like thousands of videos on that connection. I think there's even more than I can even think of right now.
Yeah, don't forget about what I told you last week. I think it was the show Orange is the New Black.
Right.
That was a really popular show back in its day. But yeah, there's also a character in it named V, right?
Right.
So
right.
I'm sure you'll find some gold in there.
And you know, the Orange Monster in Monsters Inc., the guy who plays him, his name is Lord Black. Like, the guy's name is literally Lord Black. Who has a name his name is literally Lord Black. So yeah, you got an orange is a new black kind of riddle there with that monster in Monsters Inc. But what's crazy again with this 2319 is Kobe was 23 years, 19 days old on 9/11. And then Myles Garrett, who looks like Kobe, was traded. And then Myles Garrett goes on to pitch between the two LA teams, the Angels, the Fallen Angels. Again, that goes back with what Rambo's been talking about with the disclosure as well. But he literally wore a Kobe shirt, you know. So, and remember, Kobe Bryant equals apocalypse. That's the revealing. Okay. And the guy he traded for was Jared Verse. Right? And Jared Verse equals Fallen Angel and disclosure. Well, Jared means descending, like the fallen angels, like the aliens coming down. And his name is Verse, like the verse in the Bible where Ezekiel says Lucifer fell like lightning. Well, what do you think is Jared Verse's middle name? Just happens to be Ezekiel. And again, Ezekiel, there's a verse in Ezekiel that says Satan descends. And this guy's name is literally Ezekiel, Verse, and Jared, which means descending. It's like perfect. Like, he is paying tribute to that verse in Ezekiel where it says, I saw you fall, you know, I saw Satan fall, like, you know. But also, again, 2319 was also the amount of days between Kobe's death and Disclosure Day. And then the next day, James Franco posts 2319. What's the odds? Right after Kobe turns 2319, we get this blockbuster trade. And this is the key, too. This was what blew my mind. A subscriber shared this with me. What do you guys think the last ever movie rented from Blockbuster was?
This is the end. Yeah,
like,
I remember
are
that
you
part.
kidding me? Like this blew my
Yeah.
mind, like in so many ways. I mean, what are the odds? And they were calling this a blockbuster trade. I mean, I found this thumbnail right here online. I mean, what?
They say that often when it's like, a really big trade. It's like kind
Right.
of a common phrase, right?
Right. I mean, but like this happened again,
Wow.
this blockbuster trade, which I just showed you, was clearly tied to James Franco making this post. I mean, just 2 days after this trade. And he's in LA wearing the LA colors in his video. And then again, in the movie, this is the end. There's an apocalypse in his mansion in LA.
And Blockbuster has the same colors as the Rams. How about that?
Right. Exactly. But this is what also blew my mind is another subscriber, Gematria Book, again, a guy I've already shouted out earlier. He pointed me out that James Franco had an exhibit in Switzerland last year called Hollywood is Hell. Like literally paying tribute to this whole theme of the fallen angels being in Hollywood, right? Being in Hollywood is, it basically is the movie. This is the end, right? So, yeah. And then, so that's kind of the short thing. And then before I get Rambo back on, I want to mention something about, this is the WS2, right? I mean, this is the 2319.
There you go.
So I mean, this whole thing is going back to the WS 2319. Like it's even this, everything that Rambo's been talking about with William Shatner is the same riddle. But what I want to mention is that connecting with King William, or the eventual King William, we would think. So we found out something interesting on my live stream is that I also connected this to the World Cup because the World Cup is on the 19th day of the month, and it's the 23rd World Cup. There's your 2319. And so this is all connected to William and the orange, right? Because that's the Netherlands connection. But so William Shatner, I do find it interesting that he's born 95 years and 120 days before the World Cup. 120 just happens to be the gematria. And notice that Prince of Wales equals William Shatner in the same cipher and disclosure event. Interesting that James Franco has a 72 like Prince of Wales. But yeah, so William Shatner, I've already connected before. Like I think last year I connected William Shatner to Prince William. But Prince William is the Prince of Wales right now, and William Shatner equals, anyway, 120 though. The final will be 120 days after William Shatner's birthday, and that's something that stood out to me because King William equals 120. So it's again 120 days after William Shatner's birthday, and William Shakespeare is another one with this. But William Shakespeare connects to King James kind of in the Bible as well. You got the shaken spear in the Bible and all that stuff. But I was going back to Chad Gable. Chad Gable just got unmasked. And Chad Gable, he has the same birthday. So we had 2 deaths this year. We had the death of David Wilcock. I know this is a lot, guys, but David Wilcock, his birthday was March 8th. And again, just look at this. This is the Netherlands connection again. The guy was born in Rotterdam, New York, which is named after Rotterdam, Netherlands. And he died in Nederland, Colorado. Like, this blew my mind too. Once I started realizing every story this year was connected to the orange in the Netherlands, I was like, and it just kept piling on. Like, what are the odds that this guy dies in Rotterdam, which is a city literally named after Rotterdam, Netherlands? You can look it up. And Nederland. So the story was he died in Boulder, but I never knew he died in Netherlands. And this is what the Dutch literally call their country, Netherlands. It's spelled the exact same way. In Colorado, where the blue and orange team plays. But his name is Wilcock, guys. Wilcock is a form of William. So you got the William, you got the orange, you got the but March 8th, his birthday is the same day as James Van Der Beek's birthday. James Van Der Beek has the Dutch name.
He kind of looks like James Van Der Beek too.
In a way, yeah.
You kind of squint your eyes.
Yeah, in a way, yeah, he does. He
got
has
like
kind
the
of
big
this
forehead,
blow.
and he had the long hair. You know.
Right. But yeah, James Van Der Beek's birthday is March 8th. But why is March 8th so important to the William? And I covered this back when it happened. Well, William V of Orange, I'll just pull him up. William V of Orange is born on March 8th in the Netherlands. I mean, what again, this is so in your face. I don't know how anyone could deny stuff like this. Like, you got these two Dutch guys, or two guys, you know, you got David Wilcock, William, dying or being born on March 8th. He dies in Netherlands, Colorado. His birthday is the day of William V, Prince of Orange, which is also the birthday of James Van Der Beek, who died right after the Super Bowl, which I already showed was all connected to Prince William. It was in King County. Right after that, you had the Victory Parade, and you had the shooter in British Columbia, whose name was also Dutch. And remember, that was connected to Dawson's Creek because it was near Dawson's Creek the shooting was. And guess who else has the birthday of March 8th? This guy that just got unmasked, Chad Gable. And so they all have this birthday of William, Prince of Orange. And he's the fifth. Like, we're going to have the fifth in England at some point, maybe. We'll see. Like Rambo said, it's not a guarantee, but we're just doing our best to see, you know, at least it would still be a riddle, in my opinion, because, you know, he could be William V. So, but yeah, it's just, everything is just kind of coming together. And there's, look at this, Brunswick is even, they got the Bruns stuff here too. The brown stuff. But again, to end this for now, if you go from Prince William's birth to the World Cup, let me see if I can find it here. I don't have it, but let me find it. Prince William to the World Cup. Look at this. He turns exactly 2,300 weeks old on the World Cup. Again, this is the 23rd World Cup final. And he just happens to be turning exactly 2,300 weeks on the 23rd World Cup final. I mean, it's just FIFA equals 23.
Wow.
King equals 23. Alien equals 23. So it connects to all those things because it's a gematria of all these. FIFA, it's the 23rd FIFA World Cup. Alien, King. He could be the king. You tell me he's turning 23 on that day, right? And then, again, this is the day of independence. The first meeting in the Netherlands ever had against Spain for their independence was on this date. This is the anniversary of that date. I already mentioned how this is a tribute to the ship that's going to the Netherlands. I'll just bring up that slide really fast. I know this is going long, guys. There's just so much to talk about. And I want to get Rambo's take on all this too. So I'm kind of wanting to get everything out. Shakira's song is Die Die, which is a bitter orange in Japanese. The Netherlands is playing Japan in their first game. I mean, what are the odds on the Orange Man's 80th birthday? And Netherlands is known for the 80-year war against Spain. And their World Cup final in 2010 was Spain versus Netherlands. And that was in South Africa. The Hondius took off from, also the Orange County leak was 60 days before the World Cup final. Orange equals 60. Where's this thing at? So the MV Hondius, it left Argentina, like the last World Cup was won by Argentina. The Netherlands guy got sick. His name was Leo, like Pope Leo. But his wife died in South Africa, which was where the 2010 World Cup was. The 2010 World Cup was between Spain and Netherlands. It was in South Africa. The very first game of this World Cup is literally Mexico versus South Africa. The very first game. Once again, talking about South Africa. So it's all paying tribute to the 2010 World Cup. And then, again, the ship, the MV Hondius, then went to Spain. They disembarked in Spain, and then they eventually ended up in Netherlands. So this is the most clear ritual. If there's any ritual that stands out the most, it's this one. This was one of the biggest stories of the year so far. Like really the most like in your face. And the ship is clearly paying tribute to the World Cups, especially the 2010 World Cup. So yeah, that's all I got for now. And there's actually way more, but
what were you saying, Cody? That the final is being held on the date that Spain declared its independence? Is that what you said?
The Dutch declared their, or
oh,
well, not technically declared. I'll bring that slide up real fast. So another crazy thing is, while this slide's up, the World Cup final is taking place just north of the Oranges. There's a group of cities in New Jersey called the Oranges. There's a movie called The Oranges, starring Hugh Laurie. When do you think Hugh Laurie's birthday is? June 11th.
Oh, wow.
His birthday is the start of the World Cup, and he stars in a movie called The Oranges. The final of the World Cup takes place just north of this city where he's in this city. They're literally in this city in the show or the movie. That's what it's about. That's that group of cities there. It's just crazy. And again, on July 19, 1640, this happened. The Charter of Freedom Exemptions. There's actually two dates in Netherlands history that ties to this. On July 19, 1640, Netherlands signed the Charter of Freedom Exemptions by the Dutch Parliament to go and to basically live on the land, which is now where the World Cup is going to be taking place. So the Netherlands literally chartered this area where the World Cup is going to take place on July 19th, which is the date that it's going to take place. I mean, what's the odds of that? And then what you were asking about, hold on, where is it? Right here. Oh no, that's just here it is. This is a huge one.
Oh, there you go.
This is so crazy. This whole thing is so crazy to me. In 1648, the Dutch Republic, the Peace of Munster is what they called it. The Peace of Munster was a solemnly published an announcement in the town hall on May 15th. Oh, this isn't even the slide I wanted to. This is another one. I'm so confused now. But anyway, Shakira released Die Die on May 15th. That was the anniversary of the Peace of Munster, which was the day that Spain officially recognized the end of the 80-year war. Remember, they're playing their first game on Trump's 80th birthday against Japan, and the Japanese orange is a Die Die. Shakira released a song called Die Die on the Statue of Independence. Spain officially recognized the Dutch Republic's independence on May 15th. She posted this video, released it officially on May 15th. I mean, what are the odds? This is the first World Cup that's going to have 48 teams, which is expanded from 16 teams. It's 16 teams more than the last World Cup. There's your date, 1648. That's the year. I mean, this is all too perfect, guys. And again, this is the one you were asking about. The final of the World Cup is on July 19th. On July 19, 1572, the most monumental July 19th in Dutch history. It was basically the start of the 80 Years' War. On this day, the rebel Dutch provinces held their first independent state meeting, known as the First Assembly of Free States. And this was paid tribute to in 2010, because in 2010, on William of Orange's birthday or death date, the Netherlands lost to Spain. So they literally paid tribute to the same thing in 2010. So it's not even a reach to think that they'd be paying tribute to it again in this World Cup, because they clearly paid tribute to it on July 10th, 2010, in the World Cup final, when Netherlands lost to Spain on the death date of the founder of the House of Orange in Netherlands, essentially. So anyway, that's all I got. I went for a while, but
no, that was all great stuff, Cody. Seriously, I know there's always so much to cover, but let's unpack it. Rambo, I'm not sure if you're still out there.
No, but, of course I'm still here.
Yeah, no, just double checking. Maybe a bathroom break or something. You don't know, but Yeah, I'll give you the floor, man. Honestly, he touched on a lot of things. I was curious, I guess, first to start, KODI really jumped into the whole James Franco thing. And, he touched on those 2319s. I was just curious if there was anything that stood out to you about like the shirt he was wearing, the kind of yellow tape, the 2 towers or a pause button. I'll just kind of kick it off with that question. And then
I'll just say, okay, what I would, that was great work. That was amazing work as usual. That's KODI. Yeah, absolutely. Fire.
And I just found it crazy how it connects to a lot of stuff you've been talking about too, Rambo. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, the W.S. William Shatner. Even I'm mind blown. I didn't know that Sean. I was already on the William Shatner, and I have a whole bunch of W.S.s as well. William Shakespeare, William Shears, who's the original Paul McCartney. Will Smith. I've been talking about Will Smith. So I've been on the W.S. I didn't even know that 2319 was a thing. I've got a whole bunch of WSs, which I'm going to upload. I have a series that I'm doing called The War of the Worlds, and I'm going to do a section on just the WSs. I'm talking about Will Smith last week. He did 2 ET-related movies. He did Independence Day, and he did Men in Black. So Will Smith is a big part of the ET extraterrestrial thing. So I was on not just William Shatner, the William in general. So 2319, I didn't even realize there was a thing. So you can have different people doing separate things and not even realize how their work synchronizes. So I was blown away by the 2119. I have another WS. Just as you were talking, I thought about this person that ties into your World Cup. Another WS. It's a kicker, but there's so much to touch on. So you talk about This Is the End. When I hear This Is the End, the first thing that comes to my mind personally is a song by The Doors. I don't know how many people are familiar with that. I mean, any of you guys. When I hear This Is the End, I think of the Doors song, the song by The Doors. It's a very, I don't know.
Sing it for us.
This is the end. I was going to sing, but I make me laugh. It's like, this is the end. I don't know if... I don't. People should be familiar, but it's a song by The Doors. I think it's been used in a few movies. This Is the End. It's kind of dark and ominous. It's very mellow. I mean, of course, it's not like This Is the End. It can't be upbeat.
That's creepy thinking about the lead singer of 3 Doors Down, who recently passed.
Yeah, but I actually have a decode on that. But door, what's a door? It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for a passage between. If you're talking about ETs, which they are talking about it, this is mainstream now. I mean, it'll take a while. I mean, people can decide what they want. Is this a psyop, this and that? Trying to say, oh, the government is lying. Yeah, okay, so they weren't lying for the last 100 years then? Like the government telling the truth. So for the first time, the U.S. government was trustworthy and truthful. And for the last 100 years, they said UFOs don't exist. We don't have evidence of it. You people are conspiracy theorists, overactive imaginations. If not a more serious problem that you have if you think that they exist. They've been saying that for 100 years. So government telling the truth for 100 years, and now they're lying. They're saying, oh, by the way, yes, the conspiracy theorists were true. So these are strange times. It's unprecedented. And one of the things they're talking about is dimensionality. When you talk about ETs, you're talking about there are other dimensions other than third dimension. And that's becoming mainstream. But I'll talk about the song by The Doors, and The Doors are it is that image of The Doors. You think of the Twilight Zone, that the door image. It's a portal to another dimension, which is a mainstream discussion of dimensionality and moving in and out of dimensions. But the song by The Doors is called The End, which kind of ties into what KODI was saying. If I can share my screen, I can show you some graphics on that. The End. So the song is by The Doors. The End. Oh, This Is the End. That's the chorus. Are these the lyrics? When the viewed Lizzie James pointed out the meaning of the verse, my only friend, the end. Yeah, it's a pretty depressing song. It's very depressing. But nonetheless, the end. Well, one thing that stood out is Victor Wembanyama's birthday.
That's what I was going to say. That's
January 4th. So he was born. So Victor Wembanyama was born 37 years, I believe. When was Victor Wembanyama born? I think he was born
2004.
Oh, 2004.
Well, and it's funny because end equals 14 in many ciphers.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was 37 years later. 37, I showed in my decodes, is a big number for aviation and disappearances. Vanished is 37. I showed us also Savannah Guthrie, 37 manifested there. Aviation's 37. I talked about the Star Trek Voyager episode called The 37s. It featured Amelia Earhart in Star Trek. Star Trek is a thing now. And the reason they used Amelia Earhart is because she disappeared in the year 37. And it's a very strong conspiracy. I thought even a conspiracy theory at this point that she actually survived and changed her name. The woman who they said was the real Amelia Earhart refused to take a finger to give her fingerprint, like just give your fingerprint, and she refused. So anyway, I was getting off the topic, but she disappeared in 37. 37's a big year with aviation and disappearances. Star Trek had the 37s episode. The famous Malaysia Airlines flight 307, which disappeared. It's still very relevant. It's a really big story because the most likely and very credible explanation for the disappearance of Malaysia flight 307, 37's big, is teleportation. This technology exists. Any advanced technology seems like magic and impossible before you witness it. It's like even fiber optics. The cell phone is a supercomputer. Most people don't, even just an airplane. How many people can understand how an airplane flies? All that steel, all that weight could just float in the air and then move at that speed. I mean, there are obviously some people. The only reason most of us believe it is because we see it. We have no idea how that's even possible. Well, that's the nature of technology. You understand it because you see it. You can't explain it. It sounds like magic. Like you go to the times, biblical times. Well, that must be God if there's a craft in the sky that makes someone go up. That can only be God and angels. Yeah, it's because you don't understand the technology. Well, any generation, for any generation, there's technology in the future, 20, 30, 40, 100, 1,000 years, that they haven't seen yet, that if you describe it to them now, they'll say that's impossible, that's magic. Teleportation is a thing. It's already a thing by some people's estimation. And also the way that extraterrestrial craft are able to travel these unimaginable distances is, this is a theory and it's probably very credible. I can't do that explanation justice, but there are short videos on it that can explain it, I guess, pretty well in as layman's terms as possible. It's warp drive, how you do it. The craft does not actually travel at warp speed. You couldn't survive that. You're talking about unbelievable distances, like insane distances, like trillions and trillions and gazillion miles, whatever, away. So the craft itself doesn't travel at that speed, in a short time. What they do is, what they take the space, the time and space around the craft is what they manipulate, and they condense it. And I've shown the White House chief of technology, his name is Michael Kratsios. Last year, he said that this was possible. This is straight from the horse's mouth. Michael Kratsios with a K. He said, I did that when I was doing a lot of the Back to the Future decodes. We can annihilate distances, he said. And that's what he's talking about. It's speculated that one of the ways they came up with this technology is by back engineering extraterrestrial craft. So this is the thing. So the Malaysia aircraft flight 307, 37 is a big number. It's still a mystery, but it looks like they actually used that technology with Malaysia Airlines. I actually showed a video. This is an actual video from the U.S. government. I guess they got it from Freedom of Information Act. It actually shows the plane. There's a flash and it disappears. It looks like something out of Back to the Future. Actually, there's a flash. The plane disappears. And the speculation that it went to Diego Garcia Island, which is one of the most remote locations on Earth, aside from Antarctica, is Diego Garcia Island in the middle of the, I think it's the Indian Ocean. But that is because the United States and Britain have military bases there. There's speculation that's what they did with the plane. Now, when you do a warp drive, the craft itself stays at the same speed, which is, a speed that humans can tolerate, or any living being. It's the time and space around the craft that's manipulated, not the craft itself. So you survive. And so that's why the number 37 stands out. With its Victor Wembanyama was born 37 years after this, The End by The Doors. Talking about This Is the End. And also
I was just going to chime in at the bottom there. It does mention that the guitar solo was ranked number 93 on Guitar World's 100 greatest guitar solos of all time. 93's, just reminds me of New York, heavily tied to New York, but also in 9/11, there was a movie that came out called United 93. And it was that story about another plane. I think it was, I don't remember where it was destined to, but it ended up crashing in the Midwest somewhere or something, but United 93. So another aviation connection there.
No, Flight 93 crashed in Pennsylvania.
Excuse me.
In
I thought it was heading west.
Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And why did they crash in Shanksville, Pennsylvania? What are they saying the hijackers used? They used shanks. The hijack, they put a shank, the type of thing used in a prison, a crude knife.
Right. Yep.
They're saying that's how they did it. They put it to the throat of the stewardess to force the pilots. So yeah, Shanksville. Wink, wink. The games they play, 93. But that was Flight 93. They say it was destined for the White House. It was most likely destined for Building 7 because they had to implode Building 7 in a free fall. But nothing hit it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You can see the plan did not go perfectly for 9/11 because Building 7, it did a free fall. I think they estimated in 7 seconds, give or take. Pancake, in perfect symmetry, imploded upon itself in 6 seconds. That doesn't happen. First of all, it wasn't even hit by anything. It wasn't on fire, and it just imploded. They had to do it because it was already rigged. It's a theory. I mean, that's the whole giveaway. It's not even a conspiracy theory. It's so obvious. The building wasn't hit. Nothing hit it. It wasn't on fire. Okay, it got a few debris. It doesn't have perfect symmetrical free fall in 7 seconds. You could only do that with a controlled demolition. It takes very intelligent people to make that possible. Perfect symmetry in 7 seconds. So 93. It's very credible that's where 93 was supposed to go, but something happened. Maybe the passengers revolted. Something happened. It didn't go right. That's another thing. Don't assume that these people, quote unquote, whoever they are, Illuminati, they have the power of God, and every plan they make comes to pass. And whatever happens because they wanted it to happen because they're so flawless. No, they're not. September 11 is a perfect example. It didn't go the way they planned. But what does it tell you about the human race? That even when it doesn't go to plan, they say, the hell with it. We'll just implode the building, even though nothing hit it. And people still believed it. It's really a sad commentary on the human race and the human mind. A very slavish mentality. It's unfortunate. That should have been smoking gun. That should have ended it. That should have just shut down everything. And there should have been, the whole control system should have been upended at that point. But no. I don't know what it is about the human race. Nonetheless, I got off topic a lot. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I think that's a great connection. The End by The Doors and what Cody's been talking about with the movie This Is the End with James Franco.
But also the length of it I find interesting. 11:41.
Mm-hmm.
What does that remind you of? 11:41. When I see 11:41, I think of. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 11:41. It's basically the reverse of his birthday, Charles III. 14 November. So what's the reverse of 14 November? It's 11:41. That's what I think of when I see 11. So yeah, it sort of ties into the Charles thing, but a cover version was made of this. Ties into what KODI was talking about by Marilyn Manson. So this is the end. That's the chorus. But look at when it was released, November 22nd. That's a date that KODI was talking about. He can remind us what the November 11th, 11/22 was, but that's the day he brought up, which referenced JFK. But he talked about the WS and he talked about the World Cup, and he talked about how it ties into South Africa and how South Africa is tied into the 2010 World Cup. Spain versus the Netherlands in the final. Ties into the hantavirus, which is a Dutch ship, which ended up in Spain, Tenerife, and one of the people on board went to South Africa. Also, don't forget South Africa's connection to Holland and the Dutch. The Boers from Holland, because they emigrated and colonized South Africa as well. They have their unique language, Afrikaans, which is pretty much a new version of Dutch in South Africa. It's Afrikaans.
I did not know that, actually. So that's
Holland has a huge connection to South Africa. The Boers, they're a big part of South African history. Afrikaans is a West Germanic language spoken in South Africa, Namibia, and to a lesser extent, Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe. Also Argentina. I didn't know that. I did not know they spoke Afrikaans in Argentina.
Wow.
I just learned that. I thought it was only South Africa, to be honest. We're a group of Sarmiento-speaking Patagonian dialect. It evolved from the Dutch vernacular of South Holland, spoken by the predominantly Dutch settlers and enslaved population of the Dutch Cape Colony. This is in South Africa, where the 17th and 18th centuries, in the 17th and 18th century, gradually developed characteristics that distinguished it from Dutch. This is South African history.
Wow.
They basically colonized South Africa. I mean, South Africa's history is intertwined with, and it's in the news right now with Donald Trump bringing in exclusively white South Africans. So for the most part, this is a big story. Trump allows white South. I guess they're not really seeking asylum. He's making it sound like asylum. It's not asylum. He's just inviting them in. But he's banned a whole bunch of African. He's saying because they're persecuted. So this is another connection of while we're on the subject of South Africa and Holland. Trump administration raises U.S. refugee cap, but only for white South Africans. And this is the president of Cyril Ramaphosa. He's the president of South Africa. He visited the White House, and Trump, I guess he was laughing the whole time. I don't know. It's hard to tell with these. I mean, they're all connected. They're all taking the oath. We know what oath that is. You can't be in these positions if you haven't. So I don't know how much of this is just the architect Christoph. If you saw the Truman Show, you know who that is, telling everyone what role to play, and how much of this is independently people's independent decisions. But the Trump administration said Tuesday that it will admit an additional 10,000 white South Africans into the U.S. as refugees this year, increasing its historically low annual cap, but still blocking people from other countries from entering through the program. So this is a major, it's related because it's South Africa. South Africa is directly related to Holland. It's directly connected to Holland. It's colonized by some Dutch. They speak their own version of Dutch in South Africa called Afrikaans. Many South Africans, even black South Africans, even speak it. It's a uniquely. Well, I had no idea it was spoken in Argentina. I had no idea at all.
For what it's worth, I'm not trying to pull something out of thin air, but for the time I lived in Chicago, I know that there is a town or a town on the south side of Chicago called South Holland. For what it's worth, I know we've talked about Chicago here and there with different things, but
Yeah, and there's some there is some that's interesting because there is some weird connection with why Pope Leo is connected. He has no Dutch heritage that I could see, but he seems to be tied to the Dutch somehow. And as I've mentioned before, I think there is something here with like the underworld. It's a continual underworld theme. We're even talking about the South Holland, like the under, the South part. We're talking about South Africa. We're talking about Argentina, where the ship came from. It's all about coming from the low parts, right? And then Netherlands itself means kind of underworld or low-lying areas. So there's remember when that ship thing happened, I was mentioning this, that it was like an angel of the bottomless pit, something coming from the lowlands, coming from the underneath, right? And which kind of connects to the exposing. When you expose something, it kind of comes from beneath the surface, right? And there's this whole theme, like, continually I keep seeing about this underworld theme. So it is interesting that you mentioned there's a South Holland in Chicago, because
I look at this. It evolved from the Dutch vernacular of South Holland.
Okay.
That's where Afrikaans. So that was a great comment by
Okay.
AJ. The AJ was on the money there. That's in Chicago, you said?
yeah, it's on the south side.
Yeah. So it would be the South side, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Shout out to 707. Just also mentioned it borders Indiana, or I mean, yeah, I guess one could argue it's that close to Indiana. Let's just put it that way.
And Chicago
They're
Bears.
moving their stadium. Yeah.
Well, okay, let me throw the Chicago Bears connection in real fast. So we just had an athlete get put on the Madden cover, and what's his name?
Oh, Caleb Williams.
Williams. And what color does he wear primarily? Orange and blue. Same color theme. And I actually have a slide for this. Actually, I didn't ever presented this, but hold on. I think I have a slide for this because there's something else I'm forgetting. Just while we're on the Chicago topic here. Oh, that's what it was. So there is just quickly, I'll show this because there is a documentary, so anyway, there's a book called American Kings. It was released by Seth Wickersham, and it features one of the athletes. He's not the only athlete in the book, but one of the main stories in the book is about Caleb Williams and his father, Carl. And again, Carl is Charles. So it's called American Kings, Kings, these two guys, Carl, Charles, and William. And William, Prince of Wales, equals 99. That's the date that he became Prince of Wales. He was officially instated as Prince of Wales on 9/9. William, Prince of Wales, equals 99. And but this book was released on 9/9, I believe. Hold on. Yeah, September 9th, 2025. So on the anniversary of his becoming Prince of Wales. And look at this. Caleb Williams will be 9,009 days old on the World Cup, to go with all the 99s. But the point here is Caleb Williams just became the cover athlete of Madden. And of course, Williams is his name. And he wears the orange and blue. And you just talked about South Holland and South, but Chicago's actually moving to Indiana. They're going south, which is interesting. Indiana, right? I've talked about this before. What is Indiana? How's that connect to Prince William? Well, he was once in Diana. Get it? He came out of Diana. So he was at one time, he was inside of Diana, in Diana. So that's an interesting thought as well. And again, I think there was something else, but I won't go too far off that. I'll let Rambo get back to what he was sharing. But I think it's not a coincidence. And again, I told you WWE right now is pushing a few wrestlers, and they're all of African or Black ascent. They're all like darker skinned, and one of them's name is Williams, Trick Williams. He's considered to be one of the next big stars. The other guy who's considered to be an next big star, who just won the they're having the King of the Ring tournament right now in WWE as well, which is crazy. And one of the guys who just advanced in the King of the Ring tournament is Javon Evans. He has the V in his name. He has the V right in the middle of his name, like the fifth. You guys might think, okay, Javon Evans, there's no Williams there, but his name, Javon, and Evans are essentially the same etymology. They both come from Welsh, name for John. So there's a Welsh connection with his name, and he has the V. And of course, the Prince of Wales right now is William. So, and then there's Obafemi, of course. I've talked about him. So, and there's actually a few other ones. There's a guy right now named Royce Keys who got promoted, and his real name is William. His real name is William Hobson. So William, and he's got the son in his last name. So the son William of Charles. It's just crazy. I just see so many connections right now with WWE and Williams.
Oh yeah. Okay. So there is, going back to the World Cup and the WSs, 23-19. So it's amazing how Sean's work and your work coincides. When I was I still got a whole bunch of WSs, which I think ties into the World Series as well. WS, the big WS.
Oh, World Series. Yeah.
Yeah, I brought it up on this show. I asked AJ, what do you think of when you hear WS? Okay, you might not have been there because you haven't been able to make but yeah, I don't know if AJ, you remember, I asked you, what do you think of when you hear WS? And
Yeah, it's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, it's World Series typically. So I think that of all the sports, this code is the WS, which is huge, is actually for the World Series. And I think William Shatner ties into the World Series. Actually do have some my thoughts on the World Series. Again, I'm not a sports predicting channel, but I think more than anything, it's the World Series that it points to. And I like baseball because it's the most esoteric sport. It was founded by the Theosophical Society of America. And you should see the emblem of the Theosophical Society. It's an esoteric order. They founded baseball. Abner Doubleday was a member of the Theosophical Society. It's generally accepted that Abner Doubleday did not invent it. It's generally been accepted that he didn't really do it, even though he's given credit for it. But he was part of the American Theosophical Society, and so the question would be, well, who did do it? Well, it's a group of people, not one individual did. It's a group. It's the society itself. A group of them. They came up with it. And baseball. I'll show this. The American. This is the Theosophical Society of America. I mean, this is their emblem. This is who invented baseball, just to give you an idea. If someone doesn't know anything about symbolism or anything, if an organization has this as their logo, that it's more of an esoteric. Well, this is who invented baseball, and this is not had nothing to do with Nazism. This is originally a Asian symbol. It's a symbol of Jupiter. It's a symbol of luck, and it represents the thing I've talked about. I said it's the most important symbol of all of them, of anything. It's the cycle. The single most important symbol of any symbol at all is the cycle. That's what the word swastika actually comes from, I guess, Sanskrit. I think the pronounce is svastika. It's from India. Originally, that's where that word comes from. But even in Japan, other parts of Asia, they'd always use this. Of course, Nazis got a hold of it, and now it's been pretty much it's the opposite of alchemy. They take gold and just transmuted it into dross, anything they touch. But that's not what. So this is the cycle symbol. This is the Ouroboros, which is a cycle symbol. Talk about the underworld, the cycle, underworld, above world, underworld, above world. That's part of why I've seen so much of this underworld symbolism. But this is who invented baseball. And what's baseball about? It's about the cycles. You're going around the bases. You have to, well, in general, not to get into the whole meaning of baseball, but baseball lends itself to this kind of analysis because this is what baseball is based on. It's this kind of symbolism more than any other sport. All sports were invented by esoteric orders. Freemasonry is an esoteric order, but the Theosophical Society specifically encoded some of its some esoteric meanings into that sport, which is why it's such a great sport to decode. And though WS for me personally, all these great connections, I think World Series is the kicker, and especially this year's more significant because the WS is so prominent. But I'll get on that. So this is the WS, the big WS regarding the World Cup. You're talking about the significance of Holland. We're all talking about Holland and the Dutch and this economist who had this metric for 4 years that predicted World Cups for 4 years. You'd wonder if he's been predicting World Cup for 4 years. Why didn't we hear of him for 4 years? If he's so great, we should have heard of him, but we didn't. I guess somebody was onto him if he has been making money, I guess, to some degree if they bet on World Cups. Until now, the cat's out of the bag. He's world famous now. I just don't, and he says Holland will win. I just don't think Holland will win, simply because now they've told everybody. And I think the orange. Yeah, go ahead.
You know what, Rambo? Something that I found that's interesting to go with that guy's prediction is that, you know, the artist who did the song Die Die with Shakira, again, Die Die is a Japanese orange. His name is Burner Boy.
Yeah, Burner Boy, yeah.
And you know what is really interesting? If you look at his schedule, it's really interesting. He goes to the opening ceremony for the World Cup. He performs with Shakira. Then he has only 2 dates in between the final where he again performs with Shakira. And guess what 2 places he goes?
Is Holland one of them?
Yes, Holland is one of them. It's the last stop in Rotterdam. But the
other
other one,
Spain?
No, the other one is Portugal. It's not Portugal. Supposedly there's another country called Portugal, which I didn't look into it, but it's an African country, I think, or something like that. And guess what this German guy has predicted?
Is it Cape Verde? Cape Verde?
I need to look at it. Hold on. What is? I'll just pull up Burner Boy's. I just need to pull up Burner Boy's schedule. Hold on. Then it'll tell me Burner Boy's schedule. Portimao, Portugal. Afro Nation in Porto. Wait, I guess it is. Is it Portugal? I guess maybe it is Port. I thought it was African because it's called Afro Nation. So I mean, what are the odds of that though? And what does this German guy predict the world final will be? He predicts it will be Portugal versus Netherlands. That was his prediction. And now Burner Boy just happens to be. And again, if you look, I'll just show you. If you go to his website, he only has these dates listed, and he only has 1 page for his whole website. This is Egypt. This was on April, so this was before. But in between, when he goes to the opening of the final and the last, he has 2 stops. Again, this July 31st one is also not relevant because it's after the World Cup. So in between the opening and the closing, he goes to Portugal and then he goes to Netherlands. And now let me add to this real fast too. There's a very famous game between Portugal and Netherlands called the Massacre in Nuremberg. And remember, it's a German guy who's predicting this too, by the way. A German analyst is predicting Portugal versus Netherlands. And Burner Boy is going to Portugal and Netherlands. And this guy, so this massacre in Nuremberg, massacre in Nuremberg. Oh, what was it? Maybe it's not called massacre. What was it called? Portugal versus Netherlands, Nuremberg. Battle of Nuremberg. But it was also called the Massacre of Nuremberg. Supposedly, this was in the round of 16 in the FIFA 2006 FIFA World Cup. And so what I found really interesting, if you take this gematria of this, and I found this before I learned about the Burner Boy thing. You know, you see how Battle of Nuremberg equals 733? Well, look at how many days is in between this game, which was in 2006 on June 25th, to the World Cup final, which again, the German guy is predicting it will be Portugal versus Netherlands. But look at this, 7:33, man. The exact gematria of the name of the game from that game to the final. I mean, what's the odds of that? on top of the German guy predicting these two teams will be there, and then this game happened in Germany, which, by the way, is just north of where I stay. I mean, I've flown out of Nuremberg now so many times. Something very special about that city, by the way, Nuremberg. You got the Nuremberg trials. You got a lot of like kings did a lot of stuff there. It's a really important city. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there while we're on the subject of this German guy who's predicting things. Because I mean, again, Burner Boy, I mean, maybe it's just another trick or something, but I don't think anyone's looking into Burner Boy's dates and finding that his only two stops are Portugal and Netherlands. I mean, what's the odds? I mean, why would you do that even? Like, I don't know. It just seems really weird to me that that's his only two dates.
Yeah, that is very interesting to consider. But if Netherlands were to win, I would say this is the first time, it would be, it remains to be seen, that they told you ahead of time. And if they did, hypothetically, I give examples of how they've pointed to things after the fact. Well, by the way, look, that was the clue. The mainstream media will tell you the clue. I gave the example of the NFL with its Super Bowl, they had a playoff Christmas party cartoon right before the playoffs started. And they gave you the clue is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs and San Francisco 49ers. They even told you who would win because Patrick Mahomes in the cartoon had a large, full-grown dog. And then George Kittle, who represented the 49ers, had a puppy. So they had similar presence, but the clue was for them too. The one with the puppy, you figure the one with the grown dog, that means they're going to win. But they tell you that after the fact. The mainstream media is not going to say, by the way, look what the NFL put out. Look, a Christmas party, and only the 49er representative and the Chiefs representative are wearing their full uniform. They won't tell you that beforehand. After that fact, they, by the way, look what we, and they did it again with this past Super Bowl where, again, the NFL put out this graphic, it's AI graphic of all the teams and all the, I guess, was it quarterbacks are focusing on, all of them together. And right at the front were the two quarterbacks who are going to start in the Super Bowl, right in front of all of them. But they didn't tell you that beforehand.
They did the same thing with the NBA. I just wanted to share that with you. If I find the post, I'll forward it to you. But it was like a bird's eye view of essentially, same thing, like a player from each team entering the playoffs, and they're all running to the center of the court. And there's like four main players, two on each side. But on the polar opposite ends, you had Wemby and Brunson, a part of those four, just on the other two. Like there were two players in between. But my point is Wemby and Brunson were right there in the front as well.
They did that this year too, by the way, if you guys don't remember, but they did that this year, the NFL. They did it even more clearly this year. They had that photo at the beginning of the year with all the teams lined up, and the two people that was closest to the trophy was the two teams that made it.
Right.
That was released before the season even started. And then it only came out after that because people realized that, like I said, like Rambo said, it only came out for the decoders. It didn't really come out. That wasn't like something where like the whole world knew. It's just like the people who really look into stuff, they noticed that after the fact. They're like, wait, the NFL released this graphic and at the beginning of the season, and look at the two guys in the front next to the trophy. It's the two teams that made it. So that's why I'm with Rambo on, is that this German guy is really messing me up with. I'm seeing all the connections I've made to Netherlands are so on point. But the one thing that's really making me doubt it, just like Rambo, is this guy, this German. Funny, because here I am in Germany and I'm the one doing this. And this guy is really messing it up for me. If he didn't come out with this stupid prediction thing, I would be way more okay with this because it would be kind of more hidden, but it just seems in your face. And another thing I forgot to mention is, you know, Shakira just released her new, she has a website, a hair care website that she's an ambassador. She created it. And, you know, her recent release is an orange colored, like literally just like a week ago. Her most recent colored hair care product is all orange, and she's on the front of her website right now wearing orange. I mean, that's just another one I forgot. I didn't even throw in there. It's just like, are you kidding me? Like, and if you type in the name of this new product release, it's called No Drama. It's actually the other. It's her hair care. It's called Isima, ISM. If you just type in Shakira Isima, IMA or something like that. Yeah, there it is. And then if you type in the name of this product, No Drama, it equals Holland in 3 ciphers. I mean, it's just, I don't know how I can't think this. Like, if I end up being wrong, I'll take it. But there's enough clues there to make me think I can't overlook it. So but this German guy is messing with my head though. With that, I will say that.
I mean, so that's the thing. That's the thing with betting, and of course they don't leave these things to chance. We can speculate on how is it. I watch soccer. It does not look. It does not. You can't choreograph that. You can't. You just can't choreograph it.
Yeah.
The one thing you can do is get a player not to play as well, and they can be very subtle. It's very easy, especially when you have players playing at the highest level. Just miss a step. All you have to do is just miss a step, even if you're a goalkeeper. It's not that obvious. If you just wait a fraction of a second, then dive, and then do a full dive, it'll look like you were trying to save it. So the one thing they can do is play badly on purpose. The one thing they can't do is actually choreograph the goals. That's just impossible. And they're using some form of magic and who knows, some other advanced technology. Magic is involved, and also these players. You do need to ask questions. One thing I've said about why the ET UFO thing is so important, I 100% understand anyone who takes a position that they don't want to hear about this ET thing until they get 100% incontrovertible proof about ETs. Until then, they just don't want to hear it. I 100% can understand why somebody would take that position, but when you think about potentially why it's important, if it is something that's provable, the extraterrestrials, it changes literally everything. It upends you're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of trillions of dollars lost in the energy. I mean, it's a loss to those in the energy sector. That's not a loss to humanity. That's free energy. There are people who don't have a large portion of the world's population. I think it might be half. It might be half. Does not have access to electricity, and some who just have partial electricity. Like it just goes on and off every day. None of that is necessary at all. People don't need to be suffering to the extent that they do. I mean, it can end poverty, and everyone can have just the basics, not luxury, but the basics. There's no reason for 8 billion people to at least have the basics: electricity, water, running water, because you need electricity to pump water, things like that. But you have a group in power; they're not having it. So you do need to put things into consideration. It's going to be hard to parse through all the information you get on these ET things. You're going to get partial information, misinformation. You'll see one source. People will say that source is not credible. Don't trust them because blah, blah, blah. Then the person saying that will say, what about that? So it's going to be confusing, and I can understand people not wanting to deal with it. It changes literally everything, not just the energy aspect of it. Everything. You'll have to look at mythology, because especially academicians, people in academia, they don't accept things like ancient aliens. I mean, of course not. No Sumerologist, with a PhD, doctorate in Sumerology, wants to put his name or her name to the notion that the Sumerian gods are actually, they're talking about beings who are more advanced in technology. But there's evidence all across the world of advanced technology in the past, which is undeniable. There's some form of advanced technology has existed. This will change everything. History, mythology, you'll have to change the way you look at mythology. It'll affect religion. It'll affect biology. You'll have to look at human biology. There's already speculation on where does human biology come from? What is the origin of humans? That's not set in stone. That'll be upended. It changes literally everything. This is I say in tarot, this is the tower moment. The tower is, it shows I'll show the tower tarot. But this is the moment we're at in history. This is the moment we're at in history. The tower is sudden change, and that's not necessarily negative, but it's change, radical change. And I don't know, it doesn't have to happen in a certain year or in a 5-year period. It could still be over 10 or 20 or 30 or even 50 years. But believe me, at the end of that 50 years, compared to what the world was like at the beginning of that 50 years, it is upside down completely. It's not the same. And that's how important this ET disclosure is. It literally changes everything. Absolutely everything. There's nothing that won't be touched by it, from biology, history, mythology, religion, science, also politics, business, money. Because potentially, why would you'll be less enslaved by money. That's one thing. And those in power are not going to let it happen, which is kind of interesting. What I suspect that they're getting out ahead of this, and people can speculate. They don't believe in ETs. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, who knows? It's an important issue because of potentially what the implications could be, but you can understand why certain powerful groups, this threatens them, which is one of the reasons, in my estimation, why ETs are constantly portrayed as these threats, these giant spiders and giant insectoids, men in black. You need these high-powered, exotic weapons to blast them and their guts spew out. Even that's more comedic, but it's always this threat, alien, this carnivorous animal that feeds off of humans. It's one thing after another, a threat. They're talking about, an alien invasion. The world needs to come together to defend itself against this threat that's going to consume you. And one thing that people with personality disorders, psychopaths, sociopaths do it, people with narcissistic personality disorder, what they always do is projection. What is projection in psychology? It's when you attribute the characteristics that you have, you accuse someone else of having them, but you have those. And on they're not conscious of it. On an unconscious level, the people doing that, and it's people with psychological disorders, they do this all the time, is project. They are not conscious. They have no self-awareness, are not conscious of what they're doing. They're literally telling on themselves. If you want to know what their nature is, listen to every single thing. That's if somebody has like narcissistic personality disorder or they're a sociopath. Listen to everything they say about other people, what they accuse someone else of doing. That's them. To the T, every detail. They don't realize they're doing it on an unconscious level. So when they're talking about the human race being taken over and being exploited by this alien race who's going to feed off of them, maybe directly eat them or sap their energy, and they're a threat, and you should be scared of them. And they're talking about themselves, and they don't realize they're unconscious. That's them. Like, who's trying to put substances into people and transhumanism and controlling people with money and creating artificial scarcity so you can enslave people, and trying to put chips into people so keep people more and more controllable, and continuous wars after wars. There's energy crises are being created, and bombings and this and that, false flags, all that stuff. Who's doing that? It's not aliens. I mean, some people may say, And they can do this. They'll say, well, their aliens are controlling the government. And who knows? Maybe that's true. Who knows? I think it's coming from humans. And an alien presence, ET presence, threatens more than anyone else the power structure on Earth. Whoever is in power, and we can just call it Illuminati. For lack of a better term, just to say Illuminati. If anybody's more threatened, if, again, hypothetically, if extraterrestrial life exists, maybe it doesn't. Hypothetically, if it exists, it threatens, for lack of a better term, the Illuminati more than anyone else. And who's the one feeding off humans? It's them. This is a tower moment. This is why this is the ET thing. If it's true, it may not be. It may all be a psyop. You're going to have to kind of figure out what's true, what's not. I suspect that they're concerned that they're doing this because they have to get out ahead of it, because there are things I think are not in their control. So they have to control the narrative, because why were they for 100 years saying that ETs didn't exist? If it's in your interest to create a fake alien invasion, then wouldn't you spend the last, 80 years convincing people that ETs exist? You need to do that for 80 years so that when you do your fake alien invasion, people believe it. You have 80 years to just convince people, convince them. They did the complete opposite. They said, no, they don't exist for 80 years. Well, then how can you do a fake alien invasion when you've now fully convinced people that they don't exist? It doesn't make sense. Those are not the actions of people who want to do a fake alien invasion. They haven't acted like it. So now it's like, oh, you know what? Let's convince them. Like, all of a sudden, let's try to turn them around. I don't know. So it is confusing, but it's a big issue. It is a big issue. This is the world in 2026. So yeah, that's what we're doing here. We're pretty much guessing like we're doing with the World Cup. What can we do? We can just guess. But with this, I got off on a tangent there. We're talking about the World Cup and Holland and the prediction of this Dutch economist. And again, yeah, so for 4 years, he's been accurate. He's been on the money for 4 years, yet nobody heard of him. That's weird. I mean, that's strange behavior. No one heard of him. After 2 years, after 2 World Cups, 4 years, 4 World Cups. After 2 World Cups, you should have heard of him. After 3, you definitely should have heard him. Only now do you hear of him, which, again, so that kind of makes you wonder. They didn't want you to hear about him, because if you'd been told about him after 2 years, everybody would have jumped on his prediction maybe for like the third year, and then the 4th year, even more people would have jumped on him, and they wouldn't do that. They'd lose money.
The funny thing is, there's not a lot of people that believe him this year. Even himself, he said he doesn't believe the Netherlands can make it. So it's kind of funny the way it's playing out. It's the 4th. It's supposedly, it could be his 4th time getting it right in a row, and no one even really believes him. I think their odds are still at like pretty low considering, but because they're not the greatest team. I realize that. So it really is kind of unbelievable if they were to win. So,
see, this is what makes me suspicious as well. The fact that they kept the when you say the odds low, you mean the odds are long, right?
Yes, fairly. I mean, it's definitely not the most long, but they're more on the longer end for sure.
See, this is what makes me suspicious, because if people see him, they see his track record, they're advertising his track record, and then they look at the odds. That is too enticing. To me, that is the giveaway. I haven't looked at the odds. I'm not into betting. But if, from what you're saying, if the odds are long, it looks like a good bet, then I'd say stay away from it. They're trying to entice you.
Well, and again, I want to reiterate to my viewers, I'm not betting. So I'm just, the only reason I'm decoding the World Cup is because I find it very intriguing, the symbolism, and I'm not betting on it, but I know people will, and I already told people don't do that. I know people will, but I'm just throwing the best connections out there I can find. And I mean, in my opinion, when I'm a gematria decoder, I've done the best decode I can do on the World Cup, based off the symbolism and Shakira and the dye and the orange and the connection to the Netherlands ship, the Hondius. I mean, I'm just taking the clues that we've gotten all year and making the best assumption based off of somebody who's not betting. But for those who are betting, it's a different story, right? So for me, I don't really lose anything from the bet, except for maybe my reputation gets a shot because I did a whole video about it. But I'm willing to take that just for the fact that I feel like my connections are relevant. But again, I think for those who will be betting, at what Rambo's saying, it is risky because there is something weird going on here with this German.
Yeah, if they're giving you good odds, if they're giving you long odds, and I'm not betting, people know more about it than I do. I'm not someone to talk about sports betting. From my perspective, they're enticing you. If the odds are long, they are enticing. They don't want to give away money. The reason they do betting is for them to make a profit, not to give people money. The whole point of gambling is for the house. The house always wins. The house always wins. The whole point of gambling is to make money for the house, not for you. It's not to give money away to people. If this guy is a genius who can tell you who's going to win, and they're telling the whole world now, he's world famous now. I mean, this is like, the World Cup is like a world religion, not so much in the United States and other countries. This is like a world religion. The world will come to a standstill, which might be curious for Americans. Like, this guy's kicking the ball, and that's not how the world sees it. Some wars have literally started over a football game, a soccer game. They actually have, literally. The whole world's eyes are on this guy who's a genius, who's predicted things in a row. So now he's the center of attention now. And then the odds for Holland are still long. To me, that's a giveaway. They're enticing you. They want you to bet Holland. No,
it's officially 20-1 right now.
Oh no, that's ridiculous. You're wasting your, even if you bet $5, you're wasting your $5. 20-1, that's ridiculous. They're not going to win. They're not giving. If 20, I didn't even think of 20. I thought it'd be closer to 10-1. 20-1, you're going to lose your money. No, you're going to lose your money. I mean, they want you to bet. It's obvious to me. They're asking you to bet. Like, the door's open, like pried open, kind of like, come on in. They're trying to look at the ticket. The ticket prices are criminal. I mean, it's way through the roof, like multiple times more than any World Cup. They're trying to gouge money out of people. They're not trying to give you money. They're trying to take your money. I would stay away from that bet. I mean, nonetheless, 20-1 is insane. That's too good to be true. They say if it looks too good to be true, then it probably is. And then again,
what sucks about this is I had found all this Netherlands stuff before I even learned about this guy, and just off the connections alone, I want them to win, not because I want to win money or because I want anyone to win money, but just because I feel like I had a tight decode. But at the same time, I don't trust it either. I'm with you on that, Rambo. I don't trust this economist guy, this odd stuff going on. I haven't ever since I saw that. I haven't trusted it. Well,
so, I didn't know it's 20-1. 20-1 is ridiculous. That's way too good a deal. No, that's way too good to be true. 20-1. I mean, I'm shocked by that. I thought they'd be 10-1. Honestly,
it is funny that it's 20-1 too. You got the 201 in there.
Yeah,
seems like a trick.
But another thing they do, because it's all rigged, the house always wins, is they don't want to establish any patterns. People use computers and stuff, but even just using common sense, one thing they don't want to do is establish a pattern. Now, what pattern have they established so far? One pattern they've established is that they never tell you ahead of time. That's now a pattern. Another pattern they've shown is they don't just give money away. They don't just tell you what they're doing and then give you long odds. That's a pattern. They never do it. What if they do it this year just to break the pattern? For no other reason, just to break the pattern. Because experienced gamblers will look at the 20-1 and say, no, I'm staying away from that. That's too good to be true. That's a sucker bet. They call it a sucker bet. But what if they're breaking the pattern? What if once in a while you allow what looks like an obvious sucker bet to actually come through? Because the one thing you don't want to do if you're the house is stick to a pattern. The pattern. So another thing they could do is if they have Holland win, they could have Holland win, and people bet at 20-1. What that does is it breaks the pattern. So now the next time this happens, now you're really confused. You really don't know where to go next time. Like, wait a minute. So sometimes they do tell you ahead of time. You know what I mean? Once in a while they have to tell you ahead of time just to break the pattern. If you understand what I mean.
Yeah, like I said, like the guy has Portugal and Netherlands in there, and again, Burner Boys concerts, Portugal, Netherlands. I mean, the one thing I do see, I see so many people on Portugal. I see so many, like all the big channels they keep talking about how the soccer player on the World Ahead 2026 looks like Ronaldo or looks like a Portuguese or a player, you know, and everyone's on Portugal way more than Netherlands for sure, because everyone's saying Ronaldo's going to get his World Cup and, you know, this and that. But the one dark horse that is France, because, you know, I just feel like France would make the most sense in a lot of ways as well. But I mean, at the same time, there's other things like England. I mean, there's so many teams. It's so hard to get this right. So I'm not expecting to get it right. But I will say that I believe the orange stuff is still a pattern, regardless of whether they win or not, and the Williams stuff as well. But if they do end up winning somehow, it will definitely. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a King William V very, very soon after, because or even if they don't win. But I think that the orange thing really seems to point to Trump, because even if you look at last night's story with him showing up to the Knicks game, Spike Lee has recently come out and has called Trump the Agent Orange, and there was recently an article released a few days ago about that as well, where Spike Lee calls Trump the Agent Orange, and Spike Lee does not like Trump. So there is that pattern. And another thing, Trump, when he went to The Hague, there's an article that shows that last year in June, when Trump went to the Netherlands for the NATO, because the first NATO summit ever to be held in Netherlands was last year, because the current head of NATO is a Netherlands guy. He's from Netherlands. And when Trump went there, he actually accepted the invite from the King of Netherlands, William, to stay in the royal palace. And that supposedly that's the first time ever that Trump accepted a royal palace stay. Normally Trump stays at the hotels, but he actually stayed in the house, the Hague royal palace with the Orange Hall is what they called it. So just another, I think it's all about Trump being the orange man and, you know, all that stuff. But, and I think that even if Netherlands doesn't win, the whole ritual is playing out on his birthday, with the Die Die song being a Japanese orange, and the orange is playing Japan on his birthday. So that could be the whole ritual, just the first game of the Netherlands being on his birthday event against Japan, you know.
Yeah, so I'll talk about another WS, which again, it kind of does tie into there's so many Netherlands clues. Here's the other WS, is a Dutch player, Wesley Sneijder. He's very significant. He's an excellent player. This guy was world class. And I just stumbled on this. I didn't realize today is his birthday, June 9th. Yeah, I just stumbled on today happens to be his birthday. Wesley Sneijder, happy birthday, Wesley Sneijder. But this is a big WS.
Oh my gosh.
He's a legendary player. He was a terrific player. He's world class. But he played in which World Cup are you talking about that ties all together with South Africa, and the Honta, and Argentina, and Spain? It's the 2010 World Cup that was in South Africa. And Holland was in the final against Spain. Spain eventually won. Listen to his performance in the 2010 World Cup. Just describe it. You'll see how big a WS he is. He played in the 2010 World Cup. Sneijder was in the starting lineup for their first match in the competition, a 2-0 victory over Denmark. He scored the winning goal in a 1-0 victory over Japan. And what are we just talking about? Who was Holland's first game against?
Oh, man.
Japan won it in 2010.
Oh my God.
This was the year we were all talking about the 2010 World Cup in South Africa with the Honta virus. This is their first. Well, he's a big WS. He scored. They beat Japan 1-0. Wesley Sneijder, WS, scored the goal. He had already scored in their opening goal. So this is their second go around against Japan now. So this Holland-Japan thing is a thing. Japan is a sun symbol. That's another part of it. The rising sun. That's something else.
Well, somebody had mentioned to me that the orange is about kind of connected to the sun and Apollo and so it is about the sun. It's all about the sun.
So yeah, so Japan and Holland is they have that red dot, the big red spot. That's a sun symbol. It's called the land of the rising sun, is what Japan is known as. Well, Wesley Sneijder, WS, he scores in the first game against Denmark, and Denmark, they have a sun symbol too. They have a red cross. That's the cardinal cross. That's the sun cycle. That's the solstices and the equinoxes. That's what that red cross means. To be fair, sun symbolism is everywhere, so sometimes you can't look. So in the first two matches of the group stage at the FIFA World Cup, he was selected as man of the match. That's like the MVP of the game for both the first two games. He was the best player on the field. He got the award. In the Netherlands round of 16 match, this is the knockout phase against Slovakia, Sneijder scored again in a 2-1 victory. He also provided what at first was thought to be an assist for the first goal against Brazil. In the quarterfinal, now this is the next stage where he had an assist, but then they changed the ruling and credited him with a goal and not an assist. Then he scored the first header of his career direct from a corner and consigned Brazil to a 2-1 defeat, bringing his goal total in the tournament to 4. Sneijder was again named man of the match. Again, every game he plays, he's the best player on the field. He had a phenomenal 2010 World Cup. He was the player of the 2010 World Cup. He was literally the best player in that tournament, Wesley Sneijder. He's not a household name, I guess, to non-soccer fans. And that was not the most memorable of World Cups. Wesley Sneijder was the best player at the 2010 World Cup. And I'm just, in this description, you can see it. Every game he plays, he's the best player. He was again named man of the match on FIFA's website. In the semifinal against Uruguay, Sneijder scored again in the 70th minute, taking his total of the competition to 5, raising him at the time to first place in terms of goals scored, along with Spain's David Villa. The Netherlands won the match 2-3 and progressed to the final. Sneijder was yet again named on FIFA's website as the Budweiser man of the match. He was dominant. You see,
wow.
You have to just read this to realize how dominant he was. And he's not a household name. So, I mean, if you want to talk about the WS and stuff, just go to the Wesley Sneijder, go to the 2010 World Cup, and just, even if you don't know if you know nothing about soccer, just read this, and it describes just how dominant he was. The most dominant player in the 2010 World Cup. Like, game after game, it says it. Best player on the field, man of the match, every single game he played. In the World Cup final, so Holland lost to Spain 1-0. The Dutch lost to Spain 1-0 after extra time, conceding the only goal of the match after 116 minutes. I didn't realize it. Again, 116, the 11th June. That's interesting because this World Cup actually started on June 11th in South Africa.
Well, yeah, the big connection between those World Cups is, this one and that one in 2010 both started on June 11th.
But the winning goal was scored in the 116th minute.
Wow.
But this kind of wraps up just this paragraph here, how dominant he was. He's the most dominant player. I don't know what it says awards. I don't know if he got an award for it. I don't know. I would think he was voted the best player of the 2010 season. Yeah, so in that year, 29 to 2010, he got a. Well, he's Holland's best player at least, and he was the best player at that tournament. This is another Dutch player who played. He's sort of, you think of Hunter Virus. His name is Huntelaar. He was a very good player for them, but Wesley Sneijder was at another level, especially at the 2010 World Cup. So this is a big WS.
Can't believe his birthday's today.
Yeah, his birthday's today. Yeah.
He turns 42, and he'll be 42 years and 41 days old on the World Cup final. So he'll be almost 42 the day after the final. He'll have that. That's interesting. That's Japan, actually. Japan equals 42.
Yeah, and they did play Japan. He scored in this World Cup, 2010 World Cup. So, yeah. If you talk about 2010 World Cup, you can't forget the big WS, Wesley Sneijder.
Somebody mentioned Wesley Snipes in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shout out
Wesley
Maggie.
Snipes. Okay, I'm sure there's a Wesley Snipes connection.
Well, she said he was born in Orlando in the Orange State. That's a good one.
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes.
See, that's another big part too. Is remember when the Florida Gators, the orange and blue team, won the championship a few years ago
Yeah.
in the orange state for Donald Trump, the orange man in Florida. And
Led
somebody
by
had mentioned
Todd
to me,
Golden.
right? And somebody had mentioned to me that there's probably a connection between the Moors. The Moors did something with the bitter oranges in Spain, so that there's. And when you think of oranges too, you think of like Valencia oranges in Spain, and again, when you combine the colors of Spain, if you were to mix them, red and yellow, you would get orange. So
That's actually why, for me personally, I think Spain will be in the final, because I already think, since you mentioned that, I actually think the red and yellow is it's a occulted orange.
right.
That's just me. Again, we're not betting. We're
Yeah.
all pretty much just guessing. I think Spain will be in the final.
That's what that's the thought I have had for sure, because Spain also equals 23 and just the simple cipher and 23rd World Cup, so it could all be for Spain. It could.
I mean,
I have one more.
They don't necessarily win. I don't know, but I just think Spain will be in the final. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, AJ.
Oh yeah, no, I was just going to add one more to the orange theme, Cody. Since Maggie mentioned that, Florida, the orange state, don't forget about Tiger Woods and his arrest or his DUI lately in Jupiter, Florida,
Yeah.
right? Jupiter's orange, isn't it?
Right.
No.
Yeah, it
Jupiter's
does.
orange.
Yeah, it's orange, brown, and white.
Yeah,
Tiger
and the tiger's orange.
The tiger, yeah.
Tiger's orange in the orange state, so that's like a triple whammy.
Yeah, lots of orange. I mean, I never really realized the importance of the color orange, but it definitely is a big. And just the fact that Shakira just released her product and she's wearing orange on her website, that just blew my mind there. Yeah, so it's kind of a brownish. It reminds you of the Cleveland Browns. You know how they're called the Browns, but they wear orange and brown. There's something to that for sure.
I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, but for me, the orange. I'm guessing. It's my guess based on these things. So you actually, maybe you could play the commercial if you want. That Nike commercial if you want. Maybe play that and we can look at that. But I think you said you saw a twin symbolism. Well, the twin symbolism. Whenever I think of twin symbolism, I think of Spain. Actually, the flag of Spain is the Pillars of Hercules, where the eclipse next year is going right through the dead center, through the twin pillars at the Strait of Gibraltar between Morocco and Spain. These are the twin pillars that I think of. And Hulk Hogan did a ritual. We talked about twin pillars come crumbling down. Remember that 9/11 prediction? Well, what are Hulk Hogan's and Randy Savage's colors? It was these colors. I did several decodes on this.
Yep.
Talking about Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage and how they were red and yellow, and they talk about the twin pillars crumbling down. This is Plus Ultra at Mar-a-Lago. Donald Trump has this very symbol there. These are the Pillars of Hercules. It's the Strait of Gibraltar. North is Spain, on the south is Morocco, and the eclipse is going dead center in 2027. You can't make it up. And I think if you want, you can play the commercial if you want or not, but whatever twin symbolism is there, I think it refers to this. I think Spain will be in the final.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know what? Now that you point that out, I don't know if you saw it the first time when you were watching. Obviously, you said it yourself. Like, there's a lot going on. It goes very fast. It's cool though. I think it's worth playing. Cody, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but it was the World Cup just released. The World Cup in Nike, essentially. And funny enough, it's titled "Rip the Script." Is the name of the short film. It's like, let's see, what is it? It is 6 minutes long. And then you guys just tell me if you guys wanted me to pause at any point. I'll listen out for that. So let me get my screen up here. All right. Here we go. This is Rip the Script. Nike football commercial tying in with the World Cup. Can you guys hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it.
No! Billion! How many times? No improv, no theatrics. Just head the ball. With your head! You're not even listening to me. None of these players listen to me, okay? We need to control this somehow. These players are doing whatever they want all the time.
It's taking so long, honestly.
What's the problem?
The director.
It's not okay. It's
As you guys
not.
close the way, stand by. Kim's walking in.
Kim's here.
Give a second, guys.
Just give us 2 minutes.
Bro, I ain't even got 1 minute. What we doing? The kids ready? I'm ready.
Guys, what are you doing? Where are you going? Stop back!
We'll get there.
Security! Let's come back in.
Excuse me, guys. Guys, we're filming here.
Stop.
Blood twin pillars there?
Yes. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I was on mute. But yeah, so right here, yeah, exactly. This is the first one that I see, and then you'll see it. There's a clip coming up. It's kind of fast, but they kind of run through like it almost looks like a news anchor studio, and then you'll notice these two pillars that fall as they kind of blow past that set. But yeah. See right there.
There might be an issue with the music.
What's that?
There might be an issue with the music.
What do you mean?
Can you just play? I mean, I don't know how YouTube is when you play music on YouTube. That music is not just for the commercial. That's an actual. I think it's My Sister Sledge. It's a. I don't know if you're concerned about the copyright stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know. It might pop up. I'll deal with it.
Okay.
It's already out there now, so it's all
okay.
good. No worries about it.
Yeah, I don't know. They might keep the video up, but you won't be able to monetize it. That might be.
Yeah,
they also can take it down too. That's possible, but I doubt it.
It's possible. But hey, those that are still tuned in watching, you're welcome. You guys can just pull it up on YouTube yourself. You know, Nike Football World Cup.
Yeah.
Here you go.
People are saying that Mbappe needs to pass the ball more.
Right here.
I think it's a ridiculous thing to say. I mean, oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
Zlatan will be back.
So another thing I just want to say.
Yeah.
So one thing I've noticed is the DD with the die.
Mm-hmm.
And in one of my most recent videos, I showed how the French national team, they arrived at their training camp. The players who played in the Champions League for Paris Saint-Germain, they arrived late because they were playing the Champions League final. And it's a big event. They were there for the cameras. The manager, head coach slash manager of France are actually the favorites. They're a dark horse the way we look at it, because we're looking at it through symbolism, and we don't see a lot of symbolism for France. But if you're looking at just sheer talent, France has the most talent on paper. But we don't see any France symbolism. But the manager, head coach for France is Didier Deschamps, which I saw a DD thing with it. One of their best players is named Désiré Doué. He plays for Paris Saint-Germain. They just won the Champions League. The song is Die Die. So I've been seeing this DD. So the player that was in the middle there when the twin pillars came down was Didier. No, you got past it. When they're in the studio.
Yeah, I think it's. I'll just pause it to that part.
People are saying that Mbappe needs to pass the ball more.
Yeah, I think it's a ridiculous thing to say.
So the one in the middle who's talking is.
I mean,
that's Didier Drogba. That's another DD. DD is a thing. The whole theme is Die Die. Didier Deschamps. That's the. In fact, this is the only France clue I can come. Maybe people have heard of mind-blowing decodes. Maybe there are some clues for France, kind of esoterically. But that's him. That's Didier Drogba. Also think of Donnie Darko, which I've been talking about. And what's the big, huge pop culture sensations coming out during the World Cup? Disclosure Day. DD. Well, that's his name is Didier Drogba. I just, since I've noticed all these DDs, Disclosure Day, Didier Deschamps. In fact, one of the things in my video when I showed Didier Deschamps, what he says to one of his players, who's dressed in all black and sunglasses, is he said in French, what's his name? Will Smith. That was for the camera. They make a Men in Black reference with the French national team when they arrived. The players from PSG arrived at the French national team for their camp to prepare for the World Cup. He makes a Men in Black reference. The players dressed in black with dark sunglasses, and Didier Deschamps, their head coach, says, what's his name? In French, he says, what's his name? Will Smith. Again, there's your WS again. Will Smith. He says Will Smith, the French coach. It's for patrons, it's on my channel, which is an undeniable coding of, again, Men in Black. It's part of the World Cup as well. But that's, again, so DD is a thing. Die, Disclosure Day. So, yeah, that's Didier Drogba there. Yep.
Prince William will turn 44 during this World Cup. So
okay, there you go. Yeah.
Well, so sorry, go ahead, Cody. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just going to say that. And then also the whole France thing makes a lot of sense just in general, because the World Cup final being held in the United States, and France has a huge connection with helping the United States gain independence. So, and the Statue of Liberty, think about that. And think about how Shakira in her DD song, Die Die, she's on top of the Statue of Independence, which is Nike. It's the statue of Nike in Mexico City, but it's called Independencia or something. The statue is called Independence, but which is interesting, because with what Rambo just said, and this is a Nike commercial. So, but I will say that the Nike is also a clue, because she's standing on the Nike statue in her song, and there's only certain teams that are wearing Nike in the World Cup. So I think a team that wears Nike will win. I honestly think that, because Nike is the goddess of victory. So, and she's standing on the Nike statue, and I need to look again to see what teams are wearing Nike, but Netherlands is one of those teams. But I'm pretty sure that France is also, are they?
Yes, they are. Yeah, yes. France wears Nike, yes.
But Spain, I'm not sure.
No, Spain wears Adidas.
Okay. But yeah, that's something to really think about. I mean, is that just really a clear clue for somebody wearing the Nike jerseys will win, get the victory? Like Nike is the goddess of victory.
Yep. Yeah. No, and Cody, I got to throw this in here too. Since we've been talking about Orange, we've been talking about DD, and with what you've been talking about with the letter V, have you guys, and shout out to 47 Slouch, he's performing on the 11th at midnight in New York. Hit him up. But he told me about this story. Have you guys heard of this, I guess, hip-hop rapper / streamer named David, but he goes by D4VDDD? Because he's been in the news quite a bit lately. Have either of you guys heard of this guy?
What's his name?
You guys can see my screen? Yeah, this guy right here.
D4VD, wow.
D4VD, and then look at his handle. His handle is D4VDDD, and he's been in the news a lot. it's a dark story, you guys. We don't need to get into it. But look at this. He's from New York City, raised in Houston, Texas. So you got your kind of New York, Texas thing going on here. I thought it was interesting that, his birthday is March 28th, kind of like the love frequency, right? 528, love hurts. Anyways, but yeah. So
that's 328.
328, excuse me. Yeah. 328. My apologies.
Born in Queens. I noticed that, like Donald Trump.
Yeah, there you go.
And Queens is on the border of Nassau County, which is named after the Dutch. And I found out, that Germany played the United States on Trump's grandmother's birthday the other day in tribute to her, like in clear tribute to her, because she's from Germany. And Germany played the United States on her death anniversary. She was actually died in Nassau County, which is, of course, named after the House of Nassau. So that there's another connection with Trump and the orange. His grandmother, Christ, died in Nassau. But yeah, that's this guy here. You got the V's and the D's.
Well, it really all. Yeah, go ahead, Rambo. Sorry.
The captain of the Dutch national team is Van Dijk. That's a
BD.
Yeah, Van Dijk. He's the captain. Yeah.
He's wearing orange here too in this.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, back to the commercial. Let me flip it back here. You guys see it? We good?
I just want to say one last thing.
Yeah, of course.
We're talking about teams that wear Nike. Brazil is more significant because not only do they wear Nike, they wear Air Jordan. And Air Jordan is invisible in soccer. It does not exist in soccer, except for one team at the club level. They signed a contract with PSG. That's why last year, to some of my patrons, just a small number of patrons, I just mentioned it, I didn't do a decode on it, that I thought that Paris Saint-Germain would win the Champions League because they had Air Jordan. And it was a big year with Jordan, with the plane flipping upside down and all the Jordan stuff, with Jalen Hurts debuting the Air Jordan 1s at the Super Bowl. And they scored a total of 62 points in the Super Bowl. The score is 40-22. It is Michael Jordan's 62nd birthday, which I thought was significant. I didn't know what would happen on his 62nd birthday with the plane flipped upside down in Toronto on runway 23. Well, this is the 23rd World Cup. And Michael Jordan is coded heavily into this World Cup. He's the GOAT. It's about the GOAT's last dance, Messi and Ronaldo. So Jordan is big. Now, up to now, PSG has only had the only team in soccer that has Air Jordan. It's completely invisible in soccer. It's another thought I had. But again, it's some things I share with patrons in the comments or sometimes on Discord. I didn't make a decode on it. I thought if Air Jordan, plus Jordan's winning like crazy. His NASCAR teams are winning. He's winning the Daytona 500. Jordan is huge. I figured he's known for three-peats. He won 6 rings. It was 2 three-peats. I think PSG will three-peat the Champions League. That's actually why I thought that they'd win, which they have. So they've won 2 Champions Leagues in a row. I think PSG will three-peat the Champions League. They're going to win the next Champions League next year to three-peat because they wear Air Jordan, which isn't logical to most people. Like, oh, you wear Air Jordan, therefore you know. Well, that's the way it's coded. I expect PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, to win 3 Champions Leagues in a row. They've won 2 in a row. I expect them to win 3. They're going to three-peat because of Air Jordan, but that's the significance of Air Jordan, and this is the 23rd World Cup. The country Jordan has qualified for its first ever World Cup. Of course, it's the 23rd World Cup. The Nike team I would look out for to consider would be Brazil because of Air Jordan at the 23rd World Cup. They wear Air Jordan, so they wear Air Jordan. Their warm-ups all have the Jumpman logo, Air Jordan, and their road jerseys have the Jumpman logo, but their iconic yellow home shirt will have the Nike swoosh. But they're specifically, everybody else wears Nike. Brazil specifically wears Air Jordan, which is why if Shakira's Nike statue is significant, I'd look at Brazil because they tick the 23 Michael Jordan box as well as Nike.
Hey Rambo, one thing to add to that real fast is that this actually ties into the 2319 WS code because So remember how important Michael Jordan's birthday is this year. He's born on the start of the year of the horse. And so if you go from the World Cup, or if you go from his birthday, which was also the start of the year of the horse this year, to the World Cup starting on June 11th, it's 114 days. And 114 is super interesting because if you do the factorization of 114, it's 2 times 3 times 19. So basically, from Michael Jordan's birthday to the start of the World Cup is 2 times 3 times 19 days, 2319.
Wow.
So, and he wears number 23, Michael Jordan. So that's another one, right? So, but yeah, I think that's very significant. Shout out to 7-1 for that. He wrote that in one of my comments the other day after we did the 2319 video, and I was like, wow, that's huge because. I mean, you're going from the start of the year of the horse, which was number 23, Michael Jordan's birthday, 2 times 3 times 19 days later is the World Cup.
And think about this. Shout out BPM, just mentioning that Jordan Stahl is having a historically good Stanley Cup for Carolina, and they're playing. Speaking of the horse, they're playing who? The Knights, right? Knights ride horses. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, the Carolina Hurricanes have 2 players named Jordan, and they wear the Chicago Bulls colors, red and black.
Yeah.
Chicago Bulls colors.
And they're in North Carolina.
Yeah, North Carolina. In addition to now that Cody's mentioned that statue, now I got to consider that statue. I never even thought of that. Shakira standing on that statue. It's a victory. So the famous. I guess this is the Roman slogan: "We came, we saw, we conquered." It's Vini. That's the name. Earlier in the commercial, I don't know if you could rewind, but Vinicius is the biggest star on Brazil. He's by far their biggest star. His name is Vinicius Jr. His nickname is they call him Vinny for short, but they highlighted him. He's the one when you first had the twin pillars and he was dribbling. That's Vinny. In fact, that's his teammate with Uruguay. Again, a lot of V's. His name is Valverde. He says Vinny. Yeah, Vinicius Jr. That's Vinny. That goes along with the whole victory, Nike. What's his birthday again? Oh, July 12th. A lot of cancers. I'm seeing cancers everywhere. That's Shea Gilgeous-Alexander had that.
That's
there's your 126 too. I always think of that.
That's the birthday of Caesar too.
Yeah, Julius Caesar.
And his name reminds me of like something Roman, Vinicius.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Vinicius is a Roman name. Yes. Could you look up the meaning of the name Vinicius?
Wonder if it's connected to the name Vince. Winemaker, huh?
Oh, winemaker. Okay.
Interesting.
Vino, right?
Oh, Vino. Oh, yeah, okay.
Vineyards, yeah.
I don't know. I just saw that. There's some things to consider.
Yeah, I need to look into this guy.
It makes me think of Vinny. He goes with Vinny Vici.
Also, there's a Vinny Del Negro who played for the. He played for the San
Spurs.
Antonio. Yeah, for the Spurs. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him. I thought it was interesting that he came in, or no, he was replaced by Doc Rivers, and then you had all of the racist things going on with Donald Sterling at that time.
Oh, yeah.
Exit Vinny Del Negro, and then enter all this stuff with the Clippers. But that's a different story for a different day. Let's go back to the commercial.
Okay.
So I mean, like this one was the most obvious, like these 2 towers falling down, and then there was also I'm just going to point this out. There's still 2 pillars standing, right? So there's 4 total, but 2 of them knocked down the outside ones. And then if you guys notice, like this player in the background, he wears number 10, right?
Yeah, he's the one dribbling. You see him like.
Oh, it's the same one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's him. Yeah, that's him.
Okay.
He played for France. Kylian Mbappe played for France.
Okay. Yeah. God, that sounds so stupid. But the like, just notice the 10-10, right? You guys both have talked a lot about the 10-10.
Oh yeah, 10-10. Okay. Yeah.
So it's like he's wearing 10, obviously. So you could say there's 3 10s in here. But as the pillars are following, you got your 10-10 right there behind him as well.
There's Virgil van Dijk there in the orange.
What was that? What was
I
that,
think
Rambo?
I think that's Virgil van Dijk. I talked about Van Dijk, who's the
Oh, yeah.
the Holland. Yeah, that's him
Which one?
VD.
in the orange.
Oh, in the orange, of course.
Yeah.
Rambo, this was the other thing I remember you pointing out to me when I first sent it to you. You were telling me this commercial just solidifies everything you've been talking about, with it being that whole storyline
The
about
Last
the
Dance.
goat.
It's the Last Dance.
The Last Dance. So notice right here that's like these guys, and it goes really fast, right? They barely.
Yeah.
This is a quick pan over, but it's a movie starring LeBron James and Cristiano Ronaldo, and they're pitching a movie called The Goats' Goodbye.
The thing is, the real goats goodbye is Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Those are the those are the two goats of soccer. But why can you not put Lionel Messi in there? Because he's an Adidas. So of course you can't put Messi in there. So you're putting LeBron. LeBron James is really representing Lionel Messi. You can't put an Adidas athlete in this commercial. That's the goats goodbye. That's The Last Dance. This is all about Michael Jordan, 23, The Last Dance.
Isn't it interesting that the Netherlands guy is the one who kicks the ball and then it immediately goes to this? Like, so he's kicking the ball and it goes straight to The Last Dance or the whatever this is, The Goats Goodbye. Oh, is that was that Portugal to Netherlands too?
There are 3 teams there. Yeah, okay, you can go back again.
Is that really the pass, Portugal to Netherlands?
Who passed him the ball?
That's Bruno Fernandes in the red for Portugal. That's Bruno Fernandes.
But there's your 2 teams again. That guy's predicting to go to the World Cup.
There's I think that's a German player behind.
Well, there you go. Then you got the German analyst who's predicting the 2 teams right there to go to the World Cup. Seriously, like that's it again.
Yeah. He's wearing orange. Oh, yeah, he's wearing
Notice the orange and blue colors that LeBron's wearing. Wow.
Wow, they already the orange. Yeah.
I didn't even notice that the first time.
It's kind of more of a reddish orange, though, isn't it? It's more of a.
It is orange, though.
Yeah, it's
a dark orange. Yeah.
Goats goodbye.
Is that the American team that he's wearing?
It says I think it says Football America.
I have no idea what he's wearing. It looks like it's a rugby shirt.
That's what I was confused about, because the other day when I was watching the Germany versus United States friendly, they were wearing these. This is the same thing they were wearing before the game started. They were having the national anthem, and that's what they were wearing. And I was like, why is the United States wearing an orange and blue shirt? Because that's what they were wearing before the game. So that's just weird to me. And I was wondering, is that orange? Like, I thought the United States would be wearing red and blue and not orange and blue. But yeah, it looks like that's the same. So that's probably why LeBron's wearing it, because that's the American football coats for this. They're promoting something. We need to look into that.
Yeah, I'm looking for an image. It's hard to find an image of it. It's hard to put warm-ups. Yeah, I can't find an image.
I'm sure it's out there.
There he is again.
Wait, come on, guys. This is getting ridiculous now. Portugal and Netherlands all over the place.
Now here's your ice stuff too, coming back. George Gervin, the Iceman, Spurs. Drake's Ice album, you know.
Now there is another team that wears orange. I wouldn't even call them a dark horse because they're not expected to win at all. They're good. I mean, they're decent. They don't embarrass themselves. But that's Ivory Coast, African team. They're decent. They've got talent. They're not dark horse. I mean, they're not expected realistically to reach the final 16 even. But they have talent and they have their moments. But the thing is, and you can't really put too much stock in the warm-up games. They actually just did upset France in the warm-up in France. They beat France 2-1 it's a preparation game. I mean, but if orange is a thing, then I think you can look to Ivory Coast. That's the other orange team. There are actually two orange teams in this tournament. Besides Holland, the other one, Netherlands, it's Ivory Coast. They say Côte d'Ivoire in French. If orange is a thing, then they might pull up some upsets. I'm not saying reach nothing like that, reach semifinals or anything like that. But in fact, Didier Drogba, that's actually where he's from. The Didi that I showed you, the guy who's in the middle.
Yeah.
That's who he's a big legend. He's a star for. Was for Ivory Coast. That's the other orange team. If orange is a thing, then then they might go further than people thought. Not semifinals or even last 8, but they might pull off some upsets if orange is the thing, because that's the other orange team. If orange is the thing, you can't ignore the other orange team, who've already beaten France in a warm-up game.
I think we'll have to see if the Knicks end up actually winning this series, because that could be another clue for orange, considering their colors. And a basketball is orange, by the way. I didn't think about that.
Now, this player here, Cole Palmer for England, they made this commercial before England decided its final team. It's I think 26-man team. He wasn't in the. He was expected to be in the team. A year ago, nobody imagined how Cole Palmer could not be in the team, the England squad. He's not in the squad. So you have a player in this commercial who's not at the World Cup, which is Cole Palmer of England, which they thought for sure he would be. I have some theories on that. I think he disrespected Trump a little bit because they had a tournament here, the World Club Cup. It's the first time they've had this World Club Cup tournament. It's created by Saudi Arabia. They funded the whole thing. Donald Trump is very close to the Sauds, the House of Saud. He's very close to them. And Chelsea won it. This is Cole Palmer's team. They won it. And at the awards ceremony, at the game when they were awarding them the trophy, Donald Trump stood on stage. He was supposed to give them the trophy and leave the stage, but he would not leave the stage. He stayed on the stage with Chelsea, and Cole Palmer was actually he was the man of the match, player of the tournament, the best player in the tournament. It was his glory, and then Donald Trump stood in front of him and wouldn't leave the podium. And Cole Palmer made it clear what he thought of Donald Trump. He didn't explicitly say stuff. I suspect he's being punished for disrespecting the emperor. Nobody imagined Cole Palmer would not be in the England squad, which is why he's in this commercial. But he's not there, and I think it's because he disrespected the emperor.
Very interesting. This is Palmer, right?
Yeah, that's him, Cole Palmer.
Okay.
Think of Cole. It was Cole who disrespected Trump again when Cole Thomas Allen supposedly did the assassination. It's like Cole is interesting. Cole doesn't get along with Trump. That's not a good name to have when it comes to Trump. I think that's part of the reason he was left out of the team. Is he disrespected the emperor, although the emperor was disrespecting him, but that's not how it works. The emperor, if he had smiled, I think and just kind of waved it off and took it in stride, he probably still, I don't know, this is a theory, conspiracy theory. Nonetheless, he's in this ad. No one thought there's any way he wouldn't be in the team because he's such a great player last season, but not this past season, but before that. And he's not there. let's look at who's in the front. This time it's France and Portugal in the front. Let's see.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Remember,
this.
yeah, this is like that Super Bowl thing that the NFL put out. Like the two that were in front with the two quarterbacks from the Super Bowl. We got to consider this here. I mean, there's Portugal again. Portugal seems to be the constant.
Who else we got here? So Portugal here.
There are two.
I'm bad with the colors.
They're two Brazilians. In the yellow shirts is that's Vinny again nearest the camera, and then there's another Brazilian back there. He plays for Chelsea. I forgot his name. And in the background, the green, it looks like Mexico. And there's France in the blue. I mean, if this is anything to go by. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, something to reference back.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's France and Portugal.
I'm just kind of pausing on some of the zoom ins they're doing. Is that the U.S.?
Yeah, U.S. and Mexico.
And Mexico.
Oh, the orange is back.
Yep.
So this kid in there, he could represent a team that nobody's thinking about. So we all focus on Brazil. Yeah. We're thinking of Brazil. We're thinking of the big names, the GOATs, Argentina, Messi, Ronaldo, the orange. And then it could be like the record scratch, and then the team no one thought of at the end wins it. And that could be what this is pointing to.
It could be. that the way it ends here too is interesting though. Because what was the guy's name again? The one that Channing Tatum's playing in. They're sitting zen during this whole thing.
Erling Haaland.
Holland
of Norway. Holland. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Holland. Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, there he is. '21 he's wearing. That's interesting.
And there you go.
Maybe Norway. I mean, Norway are good enough. They are a dark horse. That's a team that, a non-favorite, who have enough talent to pull off the upset. But it's not. I don't think it's that clear. I mean, it's interesting to look at it. I don't think that's that strong.
I find the one part in the middle there too really interesting with the guy's prediction of Portugal and Netherlands, and then there seems to be this show, like there's only one specific part of the video where you have two players like having a huge showdown. You know what I mean? Like you have because he kicks the ball through this, and here you have Portugal and Netherlands, and then you have the Germany right there. But then after he kicks the ball through it, it goes into this like desk area. Like,
from what I take from it, it looks like the ball hits like the window up where the conference room is.
Right.
So then that's why they all turn. But yeah, and then it goes right here to the goats goodbye.
And then what I'm talking about too is after this, where the ball goes through, and then after this, then you have this like showdown, right? Like it looks like this part just seems really stands out.
I wonder what the burning, like exploding building might be about.
It's very apocalyptic, which is...
Yeah.
Yeah, and just this part, you know, I mean, once again, Portugal, Netherlands. And he goes in this, and the building explodes. And he comes out alive, you know, like a Terminator, you know,
right.
And then there's your Netherlands again. Like, so this part right here really gets me. Like, maybe I'm just reaching, but just seems really interesting. What does he scream there?
Yeah, why don't you just die? Did you hear me, Coates?
No, I didn't. What did he say?
He said, "Why don't you just die?" And they cut off
Oh,
at die.
Die. Why don't you just die?
There you
Die.
go. There you go.
Again, die is a Japanese orange, so that's interesting. Why don't you just die? Like the Christ, the risen Christ, CR, Cristiano Ronaldo, the risen Christ, got buried and then rose again. Why don't you just die? Wait, I get it. The Netherlands, the underworld. Christ was put in the underworld, the tomb, and he rose again. He didn't stay down. That's what this is. Because Netherlands, if you look at the Netherlands as the underworld, as the grave, then here's your Cristiano Ronaldo being your risen Christ. This is the Rosicrucians, because I believe Cristiano Ronaldo is a Rosicrucian symbol. He's the CR. He's Christian Rosenkreuz, which is the founder of the Rosicrucians. And this is Cody Rhodes again. This goes back to Cody Rhodes, because Cody Rhodes is the symbol of the Rosicrucians as well, as I've shown. And again, King Charles is the CR as well. His cipher is CR.
Okay, then the big WS here would be William Shakespeare, because it's believed that the main author, there are multiple authors of William Shakespeare, was actually Sir Francis Bacon, who's a very big figure in Rosicrucianism. I think Rosicrucians consider him to be, I don't know what you call it, but basically somebody's at the highest level of consciousness, basically, who can actually literally move in and out of dimensions. Like they actually do consider Francis Bacon to be at that level. Like he can reincarnate as different people, but not like being born, like just moving in and out of dimensions. That's the status that he has. And if he's William Shakespeare, and this is connected to Rosicrucians, then that's the big WS then as well. First, this one would be William Shakespeare, if this is the angle that they're taking.
Yeah, and just before this happened, you had I did a decode on Cody Rhodes being in Italy, where the Shroud of Turin is, which is where the face of Jesus is on after his, from after it was, what I'm talking about, the Shroud of Turin, and that was all connected to the Rosicrucians, and I did a whole decode on that. But so I really think the Rosicrucians is something not to overlook here, with Cristiano Ronaldo especially, because he has literally the same initials as Christian Rosenkreuz. And the Georgia Guidestones were put up by the CR as well. Don't forget that.
They put him up and they took him down as well.
Right.
Not just anyone can take him down. You need permission. Yeah, you need permission. They got away with it. Like, you're not getting away with it if you're not part of it. Trying to say there's some lone nut who hated the conspiracy. Yeah, well, how come they didn't get persecuted? They removed the evidence immediately. They don't do that for just anybody, believe me. They put him up and they took him down, which tells you in secret societies there's actually some rivalries between them. They're not just monolithic. There actually are rivalries. It's not really knowable how the machinations are and how they compartmentalized. There are rivalries within secret societies, some pretty strong rivalries, but there's a set of rules they know that they have to stick to. To me, that looks like two separate factions of Rosicrucians were involved in the Georgia Guidestones. And I think of Georgia, I think of St. George's Cross, which is the cardinal cross, which is about the cycle of the sun. It's Aries, the born sun. That's the cardinal sign. Then it's Cancer. It's the sun at its highest point. And then Libra is the sun when it sets on the year. Capricorn, that's the sun in the underworld at its death. And then back to Aries, the reborn, resurrected sun. That's the cardinal cross. Those are the cardinal signs. That's the plus sign. That's the red cross, which is also St. George's cross. When you think of Georgia and George, the name George, like George Floyd. George Floyd was a sunset ritual, which I showed, based on Osiris, the cycle of the sun. And AJ, I found out from AJ, it was May 25th. Isn't it George Day? Right? It's the day for people named George. Right. So that's what it is. The St. George's Cross, which is the cardinal cross.
It's also the day for the guy. Yeah, it's also National KODI Day.
Already, May 25th is.
Yeah.
That's right.
Which is interesting because I've always wondered why Cody Rhodes beat Roman Reigns, you know, in the which was a big Rosicrucian thing too. Because Cody Rhodes' finishing maneuver to end the match is called the Crossroads, which literally translates to Rose Cross. Because Rhodes comes from the rhodium, which is rose. So Cody Rhodes' finisher is literally the Rose Cross, and he holds people like they're in a cross too. But yeah, when Cody Rhodes beat Roman Reigns birthday is May 25th, and National Cody Day is on Roman Reigns' birthday. So it's interesting how that all played out. But you know, Cristiano Ronaldo, he has that CR initials as well. That's why I was mentioning it. That's why the whole reason I brought it up. And don't forget that Georgia Guidestones went down on George W. Bush's birthday.
Yep.
So
you got George, right? Okay. Yeah.
So
on 7/6 on his 76th birthday. Yeah.
So
Right, exactly.
anything with George has to do with the sun cycle. St. George's cross is the cardinal cross. It's
Is Georgia competing in the World Cup?
No, I don't think so, right?
No, that's a good question. They're not competing in the World Cup, but they have, for Paris Saint-Germain, who's the best club team, I said they have Air Jordan. They're going to three-peat, I think. They've already won it twice. Their best player, this guy is like one of the best players in the world. You take top three. He's top three. Kvaratskhelia. Georgia doesn't produce big superstars in soccer, but they have now a Georgian player who's one of the best in the world. He plays for PSG, which is the best club team in the world by far. Anyone agrees. They won the Paris Saint-Germain. They have a player from Georgia. They're not in the World Cup, but they have one of the best, like top 5 players in the world at the moment.
Interesting, yeah. Because I just think of like George Bush and the 9/11 things we've been connecting and talking about with, you know, the NBA Finals, and you got World Trade Center, you got World Cup.
And their flag is St. George's Cross. It's one big red cross, which is the flag of England, and then 2 smaller red crosses, 4 of them in between the quadrants. But the William Shakespeare thing, I think, is a factor as far as the WS, because England put out a video for the World Cup. It's pretty much just like a kind of rallying kind of video for England. And it's Shakespearean. It looks comical at first, because the person doing it is the last person you think will be reciting Shakespeare, but it's amazing how it works. I think I think that England is pretty impressive for me personally, my take. I'm quite impressed, but they actually do Hamlet by William Shakespeare. So the England video, which is, I don't know what you call it, pep rallying, I call it a rallying video for the World Cup, England. It's based on Shakespeare's Hamlet. I don't know what you lead into, but it brings in the WS. William Shakespeare is a big part of the WS.
And shout out to Zanga, just mentioned George from Monsters Inc. 2319. I haven't seen Monsters Inc. in a very long time. I'm probably going to have to go back and rewatch it. But
that's
George,
the name of the monster. In the 2319 that I've been talking about, the name of the monster is George.
The one with the white sock?
Yeah, the orange monster with the white sock who causes the 2319. His name is George Sanderson.
There you go.
And he's played by, like I said, the guy who plays him is Lord Black. Something Lord Black. I can't remember his first name, but yeah, George Sanderson. And you know what the initials of George Sanderson are? Since we're going off all these initial stuff, would be 719. When's the World Cup final? 719.
Nice. Well, we're right at that 3-hour mark, you guys. I think we've covered a lot of ground tonight. Yeah. I guess before we kind of go to outros, was there any kind of last final thoughts? Anything else to add? Any other tidbits or whatnot? We've, obviously we touched on a lot of things, but me personally, I thought it was interesting. When we got to the very end of that World Cup commercial, you have Holland, the soccer player who kicks over the kid, as we were talking a lot about South Holland and, Rambo's work on the Afrikaans, and, it's just
It is interesting that his
never thought
name
about
sounds like Holland, isn't it? I find that really interesting.
Yeah.
But I have just one thing, and then I'm done. I have just, and this is for Rambo on the Williams Shatner thing.
Do you need the screen?
Yeah, I'll share my screen. Hold on.
Okay.
Just made a quick slide for it earlier. I just wanted to share this before we get off because it is really interesting. So look at the birth date of William Shatner, 322, right? But look at the date duration between William Shatner and William. Look at this. Breaks down to 322.
Wow. Okay. So 18719 is the 2137th prime, and 2137 is the 322nd prime. Oh my goodness. Wow.
So that's kind of in your face right there. I mean, he's born on 322. So
yeah.
That's just something to keep in mind for future. I mean, when I see stuff like this, it just makes me know these two characters are certainly connected in many ways. I already showed how William Shatner equals Prince of Wales in the same cipher. So actually, I think he equals, this is actually a huge cipher too, because I think United Kingdom equals 65 in the same cipher too. So yeah, United Kingdom, Prince of Wales, and William Shatner all equal 65 in reduction. So that's all I got for now.
Cool. Yeah, good stuff. Thanks for sharing that 322. Seriously, that was I love it when primes compound down like that, you know? It makes it so perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Cody, just kind of final closeout on your end. Just let the folks know where they can find you and support you.
Yeah, thanks for everyone for sticking around and watching. Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Rambo. It was a great stream, and I enjoyed learning from you guys and sharing. And if you guys want to find me, Decoding with Cody on YouTube, and buymeacoffee.com/decodingwithcody.
We appreciate you, Codes, very, very much, man. Thank you so much.
Guys.
Rambo, wanted to give you kind of, any other closing thoughts, anything else you wanted to throw in before we wrap up?
No, it's been 3 hours. I think we said plenty. I'd just like to thank you again for putting this together, and thank the audience for being here, and Cody. It's good to have him for a full show. It's been a while, and we see why he's so valued. And it's a great show again. And this is where I can be found, patreon.com/thetruthcodes. Right now I'm working on a series called War of the Worlds. And I am focusing heavily on the extraterrestrial phenomena. That is something I am looking at in depth, because I explained on the show why it's so significant. And it remains to be seen if it's something legitimate or not. So War of the Worlds is a series I'm working on now. And I'm also on Instagram.com. What I showed in the beginning was actually off of Instagram. What I showed you is what's on Instagram. So yeah, thanks again. And we'll look forward to next week.
It's a pleasure as always, Rambo. Seriously, Sally wants to speak on behalf of the whole fam. Happy early birthday to you, Rambo.
Yeah, thank you, Sally. I appreciate
SW giving this birthday shout out for the SW stream.
Yeah, but she pointed it out herself. She pointed it out herself. But this is why if you go to Patreon, you'll get to see contributions by people like Sally. I mean, Sally in her own right is a great decoder. She's actually been a guest on some pretty prominent channels. She's actually one of the things she's looked at in depth is the Paul McCartney, his life story, and the theory, which is a very strong theory, that Paul McCartney actually died in 1966, and the current Paul McCartney has been replaced. And I realized this, and Sally knew this. What's the real name of the person who they say who people think is Paul McCartney, but replaced the original one? The name was William Shepard, W.S. She pointed that out. Yeah, there's a lot of W.S.s, and she pointed out that she's also, because she's also tied in. She talks about her organic connections to Paul McCartney. she's a very valued patron of mine. So I really appreciate Sally very much. But it's so comments like hers, which you can see on every video. I mean, that's brilliant contributions, brilliant on Patreon and on in the comment section of all my videos. I think she's writing a book. I think I'm not sure she finished the book, but she's in the process of writing a book, Sally. And when she does, yeah, I'll be happy to promote it and read it.
Absolutely,
yeah,
I'd love to have Sally on sometime.
Yeah, she's been a guest on some major shows. Sage of Quay, that's the pretty major channel that she was on, giving her expertise on the Paul McCartney. But yeah, so yeah, very astute of you, Cody, to mention her name, the SW, because she noticed it herself, and she's connected to again William Shepard, the name of the person who you think very well could be the name of the person who you think is Paul McCartney. It's William Shepard. It's big. WS is big. Thank you, Lex. Thank you, Coffee.
Yeah, and have a good birthday.
Showered with happy birthdays.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'll be 57.
Absolutely.
57.
Big new moon number to me, at least. I always think of that in the New York Mets. New York Mets in a lot of ways.
Birth and moon number.
Yeah, birth. Yeah, I think of birth. When I see 57, I think of birth. It's a big with George too. 57. Well, I was talking about the St. George's Cross. 57 is huge when it comes to that. It's George and birth. It's about the rebirth of the sun. So yeah, I appreciate all the positive sentiments. Deeply appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I can attest to that, you guys. This is only $5 a month, and it's for all of Rambo's content. You know, he's kind enough to give us the hours he does every week, despite the amount of hours he puts into the content he's willing to share. Go give him a shot, you guys. Seriously, you know, worst case scenario, sign up for the free tier. He's kind enough to share content on that as well. So love always, Rambo. Happy early birthday. Can't wait to hear about how exciting of a day you had. And without further ado, my name's AJ, Balll Don't Lie, 3 L's and Ball. Find me on YouTube and Instagram. Send me an email sometime. Wordplaybook, 3 O's and book @gmail.com. And without further ado, we will close it out. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.
Take care.
See you, everyone.